I'm going to be bitten by a tick today. I won't even know it until Lyme disease turns my life upside down.
Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
Picture a door. On it, a sign that says, "Do not look." Every instinct says danger, but still you peek. Inside, a room full of cockroaches, which can trigger asthma attacks, rodents that contaminate food and transmit disease, and termites which cause billions in property damage each year. Trust your instincts. Know the signs. Learn how to protect your family and home at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
Hi, I'm Gary LaVox from Rascal Flatts. You know, music has always been a huge part of my life. It's something that I started pursuing as a kid and never gave up on. It took a lot of hard work and dedication, but it paid off. Music has allowed me to travel around the world and to meet a lot of interesting people. So don't let anybody tell you that your dreams aren't possible, because they are. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Yeah.
WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is defensive lineman Alex Hunley, and you're listening to Home of the Gamecocks 107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
You know, up until the other day, I thought the term body double was just for stuntmen and women working in film. But a colleague of mine taught me that body doubling is also a, quote, productivity and self-help strategy that involves working with another person to help improve motivation and focus. It's been popular for a while for people who have ADHD, but anyone can benefit. Think of this as an external motivator to stay on task. The other person doesn't even need to be doing the same thing as you. They do need to be someone you feel comfortable around and who you'll listen to if they push you to get back to the task on hand. Now, if you don't feel comfortable asking someone to do this with you one-on-one, some people say just working around other people at a coffee shop, library, co-working space. That's all the motivation they need to get things done. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
DQ presents The Sound of Summer Calling.
Hey, it's me, Summer. I know you're busy with Beach Days Little League games and all the other fun in the sun, but you gotta get to DQ ASAP Pronto right now. The new Summer Blizzard menu is here, and it brought 5 iconic summer flavors, like new peanut butter puppy chow and s'mores. Oh yeah, it's back. Oh, that's my other line. Everyone is pumped about this new DQ Summer Blizzard menu. I gotta go. See ya, DQ.
Get it in the app. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
The early game.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Here's the problem with that 9-minute average. Once you run in 9 minutes, you're no longer trotting. You're running.
Yes.
Also a problem.
So this is the cocky trot. I'm going to need you to slow down a little.
With Bill Gunter.
I'm an expert in trotting, and that is not trotting. That is running. Full on, very close to sprinting.
And Jen Jensen.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
On your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
The first day of May or February. I'm not, depending on if you've walked outside yet and enjoyed the weather, you're probably a little confused like Preston and I were as to what exactly month it is. But welcome in as we get the month of May off and running. Preston, we walked into the building at the same time, and both of us weren't sure if it was like the first day of March or the first day of May because it's in the low 50s this morning. Not real sure what's going on, but welcome in and welcome to the month of May where we really start to go into the summertime.
Yeah, I went with the shorts and sweatshirt approach this morning, just hoping hoping that the sun's going to come out and be warm up. So I went with wishful dressing today. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I was actually prepared for shorts and like a collared shirt, and then looked at the weather just briefly. I was like, I wonder what it's like. I saw the weather app said 50, and I went, yep, jeans and a pullover.
Yeah, that's also the other issue when you already decided what you're going to wear before you wake up, and it's just like, this is just going to have to work anyway.
This is going to happen no matter what the weather is.
This is what I'm doing.
We got plenty to talk about this morning. Jamie Bradford due up here in about an hour. I get it. South Carolina lost 2 of 3, and it wasn't particularly pretty on Friday and Saturday, and they had to rally yesterday to knock off Auburn. Mark Kingston was ejected. Actually, I think that was one of those that he got ejected to fire up his team, right? Like that wasn't, oh, I'm arguing, oh, you're throwing me out. He went out with a purpose, almost like he sent his catcher to play in one inning with a note that was handed to the umpire, like, eject me next time I run out. Like, it was planned to fire up the team. That's what that was, right? Like that was the plan, is I'm going out with the purpose of being ejected so that I can fire up my team, and maybe it sparks us, right?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't hurt in that situation for sure. He had legit complaints. He was talking about the pitch clock. So there was a legit complaint. It's not as if he fabricated something, but let's just say he was happy to seize on the moment. Let's say that.
Yeah, I didn't think that was – I thought that was something, if the series had been 1-1 and South Carolina played, he probably – doesn't. I just took it as he was going for the ejection. It was a total effort to. Sometimes you do that. I've heard of baseball coaches doing that to try and just get their team going, and it kind of paid off because South Carolina was down 5-2 after the second, but they are able to rally 3 runs in the 7th is what turns the tide. South Carolina would take an 8-6 lead. Auburn would tack on a run in the 9th, but it was a come from behind victory that South Carolina needed. No, it's a long season. They're not falling apart. The season's not in jeopardy. This team's you've still got plenty. What I am concerned about, and what we should be concerned about, is the injury situation. That is, and I'll be interested to hear Jamie Bradford's take on this, because they are starting to pile up. South Carolina made it through the first, 3 months, essentially, 2.5 months, kind of injury-free, Preston. In a locker room like that, when you start to see your guys go down and you're a player and you're starting to see guys on the disabled list or banged up, or maybe you're seeing them during the week at practice, what is that like for a player when you're starting to see guys? Because now Braylon Wimmer is now a guy who's down with an injury.
Yeah, you don't want to say injuries are contagious, but sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes it just seems like things happen one after another, and then some of those aches and pains that you have all season, because that's just the reality of playing an SEC sport in any SEC season in any sport. You're going to have things that continually build up. You just hope that you can make it toward the end of the year. And this is the point of the season where, and I've always be curious, and I'd like to ask Jamie about this, because I know in football, this is where you can sort of ease up on practice. You don't have to be as physical during practice. You can sort of start to turn the throttle down as far as how much you practice and how much you hit, to help get some guys in healthy, because you only play once a week. But that's not the case with baseball, because they have to play again. They have to have a midweek, and then they have another series coming. And so I'm really curious as to how baseball teams approach the part of the season where injuries start to pile up.
It won't get much easier. Little 4-game road trip coming up this week. Wednesday, May the 3rd, South Carolina will head up to Rock Hill to take on Winthrop. That'll be followed by a trip out to Kentucky next weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be that series. You can hear right here on 107.5 The Game. The first 2 games will be played on the SEC Network, plus the Sunday game scheduled for 2 o'clock will be on the SEC Network. But we'll get more into that as we roll on. Kentucky, by the way, at least leaves the weekend ranked 15th, but they went 0-4 last week. They lost to Louisville in the midweek game and were swept over the weekend on the road at Vanderbilt. So again, South Carolina leaves the weekend ranked 3rd. Kentucky leaves the weekend ranked 15th. both will be expected to fall in the polls when they come out later on this morning, at least in the D1 poll. But we'll talk more about that as we go through the week, as we go through this morning. Some big news for South Carolina football. Very interested to get your take on this. According to the BigSpur.com and Gamecock Central, Travian Robinson will be the next defensive line coach at the University of South Carolina. Now, I admit, you go, wait a minute. But we just exited spring practice. Thought we had a defensive line coach. Yes, I was at the beach all weekend for a soccer tournament, so I was a little taken aback to actually check sports yesterday, check the BigSpur.com, and go, oh, Jimmy Lindsey's going to LSU, and then Travian Robinson is probably going to be the guy that is coming home. I can't. What do you know? What can you share on your knowledge of Travian Robinson?
This is a really interesting point. So, backing up, he's coming from Tulane, and he was just recently hired down. He hadn't coached the season at Tulane yet.
Yes, he was there this year, obviously as part of that team that went to the Cotton Bowl and knocked off Southern Cal.
Yep, and so
he'd been there one season. Otherwise, yes, he had been with Sean Elliott at Georgia State.
Yeah, and so what do we know about him as a coach? Very limited, actually. Very limited. We know he sort of followed the Gamecock pipeline, this is how coaching pipelines are supposed to go. He got to Georgia State with Sean Elliott through that sort of Gamecock connection. Then he went to Tulane with Chris Hampton through that Gamecock connection. Chris Hampton is the up-and-coming defensive coordinator at Tulane, and now he's back in South Carolina through another Gamecock connection. So he has seemed to follow that path, which is the way that coaching pathways should go. That's how coaching trees are supposed to work. That's how hirings go. What does that mean as far as the defensive line is concerned? I do not know. I know he was a tremendous player here for the university. I cannot honestly speak towards his coaching ability yet, but I do trust Sean Elliott. I do trust Chris Hampton, and I do see his track record to this point.
And it should be mentioned, Chris Hampton is actually now at Oregon as the co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach for Dan Lanning.
I forgot about that.
So Chris Hampton, you mentioned a former Gamecock.
He's on the way.
Is turning into one of the more sought-after defensive coordinators in the country.
I was saying that, and I forgot. So that's another reason why Travian would say, it's a perfect opportunity for him to move on.
We'll get more into that this morning because South Carolina is in an interesting position with their current status on the defensive line. It's kind of a transition, if you will. We'll get into the NFL draft. Cam Smith does do what we thought would happen for the majority of the college football season, and he's the first pick from the University of South Carolina and goes to the NFL. Zach Pickens follows. Darius Rush follows. Javon Gwynn, Jalen Brooks, a selection there in the NFL draft. So good for all those guys. We'll get into that this morning. There's a lot to get to.
Yes.
Preston's Thorns, Buds, and Roses. As Travis points out on our live stream, yes, the NBA.
Fantastic.
Full effect yesterday, right?
Yes.
Steph Curry went old school Steph Curry to make sure the Warriors were not eliminated in Game 7 against the Kings. We'll get into that a little bit. A lot to do this morning as we roll along. Jen will be back tomorrow. Preston is here through Wednesday. I'm here through tomorrow. You get the point. We're going to take a little time off. Kentucky Derby also coming up on Saturday, and I want to be fully prepared for the Derby on Saturday. So.
Bill, we got to see we got to see the uniform and the outfit for the Derby.
Got to take 3 days off to be ready for the Kentucky Derby. He's Preston Thorne. I'm Bill Gunner. Producer Ed Bird in with us this morning. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. What a weekend, folks. Steph Curry's Game 7 record 50 points crushed Sacramento to advance Golden State. Now in hockey, Toronto won its first postseason series since 2004. The Maple Leafs next play Florida, which overcame a 3-1 deficit and eliminated Boston. And how about Seattle? The upstart Kraken dethroned the defending champion Avalanche. I'm Boomer Esiason.
DQ presents The Sound of Summer Calling.
Hey, it's me, Summer. I know you're busy with Beach Days Little League games and all the other fun in the sun, but you gotta get to DQ ASAP Pronto right now. The new Summer Blizzard menu is here, and it brought 5 iconic summer flavors, like new peanut butter puppy chow and s'mores. Oh yeah, it's back. Oh, that's my other line. Everyone is pumped about this new DQ Summer Blizzard menu. I gotta go. See ya, DQ.
Get it in the app. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Online at CordellCordell.com. 1201 Main Street, Suite 840, Columbia, South Carolina, 29201. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
It's chilly this morning, but the warm weather is coming. It's officially swim season. That's right. The month of May is upon us, and you know as well as I do, the hot days are coming, and it's time for you to come home after a long day of work, dealing with coworkers. It's time for you to come home and hop in your backyard pool. Corley Pool Solutions is ready to make sure that that can happen, that you'll be hopping into a clean pool. Tracy Corley, with over 20 years of experience in the industry, will inspect your pool equipment weekly, making sure it's operating properly. And the best part, they'll test, they'll treat, they'll maintain your pool, including all of the chemicals involved, at a flat rate cost. So call them today, 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. What stands out about Corley Pool Solutions, you ask? It's the dedication to making sure your pool is maintained at the absolute highest level. So there isn't just a team coming out there. It's the boss himself, the owner of the company, on the site, inspecting, making sure that your pool is maintained properly, doing it weekly, helping prevent expensive damage to your pool equipment. So save your hard-earned money, save your time, enjoy your pool by having the experts keeping it maintained at Corley Pool Solutions. 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. Contact Corley Pool Solutions today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
1075 The Game On Demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 1075 The Game.
Sponsored by Lowe's. Hurry, it's your last chance to shop Springfest savings at Lowe's. Get additional $300 off select major kitchen appliances when you spend $1,996 or more. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 5/3 while supplies last. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
Hi, I'm Glenn Matthews.
And I'm Melanie Matthews.
And we are the third generation owners of Modern Exterminating Company.
In a time when corporate consolidation, high-pressure door knockers, and inexperienced startups are becoming the norm, isn't it nice to have an experienced, local, family-owned company that you can count on since 1955?
Modern Exterminating has been the local, independent industry leader in the pest control business for the last 67 years. Experience the local, family-owned difference for yourself at 803-765-2315 or pestfreesc.com.
Family is comfort. It's care. It's a safe place. It seems when you need help, you can always count on family. At Broom Heating, Air, and Electrical, they are a family you can depend on and have been for 53 years. Heating and air is their passion. Customer service is their pleasure. And when Broom Heating, Air, and Electrical are in your home, your family is theirs. For an appointment, call 803-754-9409 or visit their website at broomheating.com.
When you hear it's Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot and Ryobi 40-volt expanded cordless string trimmers are just $179, what are you driven to do? Clear out winter's overgrowth? Clean up the driveway lines? Or take a lighter touch around the flower beds? Hurry into the Home Depot during Spring Black Friday to get more done with the extended runtime and precision control of the Ryobi 40-volt expanded cordless string trimmer. Now just $179. Shop Spring Black Friday savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan a Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan a Tool.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join our growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Hey everybody, a good morning to you on this Monday. We're going to be giving you a first alert traffic update. As we have seen early on this morning, not much of an update to give you. Everything relatively clear, calm around the region, other than a singular stalled out vehicle, which has not been causing any problems. There have been no confirmed collisions, nothing with backups on our main roadways and interstates, but keep listening along this morning. We'll make sure to keep you posted. This has been a WIS First Alert Traffic Update. I'm meteorologist Tony Chiavaroli.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
We'll really next week get into the goofy stuff, because I'm only here today and tomorrow, and then I'm just going to have a huge birthday celebration, turn 41 on Wednesday. Jen and Preston are going to celebrate without me.
Yep.
I'm guessing Terry and Jay will eat donuts in honor of me. I don't know. It'll be just a big celebration, but I'll be taking Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off. So next week we'll get into the goofiness that is the early game. There is actually a lot of sports to discuss this morning, and I'm not even sure exactly where to begin because there's so much.
A lot.
NFL draft, though, for South Carolina, it went as well as you could hope. Is that fair? Is it? Are we under this? Like, if you're a South Carolina fan, if you were, no surprises, right? Like, everybody's in agreement on this. There was nothing that caught anybody off guard.
Well, this was another case of maybe we shouldn't listen to all the pre-draft conversation, because all we heard is, if you take what we heard with Will Levis, he's going to go first round pick. He's going to go in the top 5. He might be number 1 quarterback taken overall. That doesn't happen. He slides to the second round, right? Now, to bring it closer to home, you got Cam Smith. Oh, Cam Smith is falling in. I don't know if he's even going to get drafted. He might. Who knows what's going to happen? And then he gets drafted early, probably around the projected time that everybody thought he was initially going to get drafted. And it reminded me of the wise wisdom of my good friend Sean Smith, who is an undrafted free agent,
okay,
but has all the confidence of a first round pick.
Of the number 1 pick?
Yes.
Not even a first round. There's just the straight first
number one free agent, number 1 undrafted free agent in his mind. And the way he looked at life, and I think that's what served him to be successful in the NFL, is he said, it only takes one. It only takes one. And so it doesn't matter if Cam Smith was falling through the cracks for all the other teams. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins had him at this high place and where they were going to take him. And so that's the interesting thing about the draft, is that it's not as if you're drafting against the whole field. Every single organization has different priorities, different things that they want to prioritize in their room. And if you happen to be one of their priorities, you might end up going higher than you thought. Or like in Will Levis's case, if you're not on all these teams' priorities, you might fall down to a team like Nashville, where they are a priority. And now all of a sudden you're in a better situation than you thought you were going to get. So the draft is all weird, but it's always interesting, to say the least.
Granted, I don't know how fully invested. I think you've mentioned you had a pro day or whatever, and you were like, that's the end.
I went out for moral support.
But I guess the question from your guys, like, this is always an interesting debate, at least I've heard. In the 7th round, Javon Gwynn is selected by the Falcons. But I've always heard when you get to the 7th round, maybe it's better to not be selected 6th, 7th round, because let's say Josh Vann. Josh Vann signs with the Panthers. It's not a bad place to go. They did just trade DJ Moore. Obviously, they're going to go with Bryce Young, and Josh Van can go in there. And if you look at the Panthers' wide receiving room, I would say it's open to being able to make an impact in.
Yeah.
And so I ask you that because, like, Javon Gwynn in the 7th round, kudos to him. He gets drafted, but I don't know enough about the Atlanta Falcons offensive line situation to say that that's the best one to go to. Whereas if you're a free agent, you can kind of negotiate your own turn. You can look for teams that maybe fit that depth chart maybe fits giving you a chance to make it a little bit better. Does that make sense? Have you heard that from guys?
Oh, that's 100%. That's what it is. Anybody from essentially the 5th round to undrafted, there's no guaranteed roster spots. All of you all are fighting for the same roster spots, fighting to make a team. Now, as an undrafted free agent, you and your agent get to decide, looking at a roster and say, oh, that might be a situation where we can actually make the team, as opposed to if you're drafted in the 6th round, where they're essentially just drafting somebody to come in and fill in their spring roster for OTAs and just be what they call a camp body. They're going to give you a signing bonus. You'll come into there and they'll cut you, and then you'll be back to being a free agent. Sort of being a free agent, you get a step ahead because now you get a chance to pick your spot. So there is the honor and the
it's a great thing.
It's
the
phone
call. And
and you cannot take that away. That's an achievement of a lifetime to get that call and say that you were actually drafted. But really, from a business perspective, anybody from, I would say, 5th round on, undrafted free agent is probably the way you want to go.
And those guys, as we mentioned, and I don't know, is there a difference in how this is worded when it says Josh Van has agreed to terms with the team? Whereas, and by the way, it was Nate Atkins and Josh Van, who I just reading the release, has signed or agreed to terms with the team, as opposed to Eric Douglas and Sherrod Green, who earned an invite to camp. What is the difference?
Big difference. It's just on where you come on in the priority train. It's very similar to if we're taking this as a college. If you think about a preferred walk-on as opposed to a walk-on, as opposed to somebody who's on scholarship, your undrafted, your draftees would be your scholarship guys. They're going to get priorities. They're going to get the first reps. They're going to get to choose their numbers, and then it sort of trickles down after that. Those guys that were invited, come on, show us your stuff. It's probably a very long shot for you to make this roster, but in doing that, you have a chance for people to put their eyes on.
So when it says for Josh Van and Nate Atkins, the fact that they signed as undrafted free agents, that's different than just being invited.
That means you're just gonna get a little bit of signing bonus.
Okay,
and it's not what most of you all are thinking it is. It's
gift card to Halls.
It's kind of something the NFL equivalent to that.
Appetizer.
Yeah. It's not great. It's not going to be what most people think when they're signing as a free agent, but it is an opportunity.
Again, just to recap, if you kind of tuned out after about Thursday night or Friday, Cam Smith, 2nd round to the Miami Dolphins. Zach Pickens, 3rd round to the Chicago Bears. Darius Rush goes 5th round to the Indianapolis Colts. Javon Gwynn, 7th round to the Falcons. And Jalen Brooks wrapped it up 7th round to the Atlanta Falcons as well. And then Josh Van, again, agreeing to terms with the Panthers. Nate Atkins signing with the Denver Broncos. That'll make Jay Phillips very happy. Eric Douglas accepting an invite to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rookie mini camp. Sherrod Green earning an invitation to the New York Jets rookie mini camp. Do you remember just stories from guys that would go to these camps and they'd come back and tell you, you got a good one from that?
Yeah, I mean, they all kind of end up being the same. It's especially the folks that were invited to the mini camps. It's kind of like, I went up to Denver. I held the practice dummy. They gave me a jersey. I never talked to anybody, never spoke to anybody. 2 weeks later, I was talking to my agent trying to figure out where we were going next. So a lot of those conversations ends up happening. But the point is that you get up there, and in the very limited opportunities that you have, maybe you can impress somebody, or your name can just start making that circuit.
803-404-6100. I want to go back to the Will Levis thing. I did think this was interesting because the Titans, Mike Vrabel put out a statement not long after. And I understand why coaches say this, but I did think it was interesting where he said, look, it's Ryan Tannehill, it's Malik Willis, and then it's Will Levis. And I get it. I guess you got to say that. But it really is interesting compared to what we all thought for Will Levis. And this now will become one of the more interesting quarterback storylines that I follow, just because, as you mentioned, there was that weird thing that happened last week where he went from 40-1 odds to be drafted first to 4-1 odds because of a Reddit post.
Right.
because a cousin's friend's sister happened to be at the house next door and overheard one of them at a cook. I mean, literally, that's probably what happened.
Very likely.
And next thing you know, it's on Reddit. But where his career goes, because you're right, he had a very weird off season where he just rose to prominence as being this elite prospect, to the point that some people, I guess, last Tuesday and Wednesday, I think he is going to go number one. The Carolina Panthers like big, thick quarterbacks. They don't like tall, skinny sticks, right? Bryce Young's not even tall, but and now he failed to the second round, and we'll see what he does with his career.
So, yeah, and the benefit for him is that he fell into a stable situation. Vrabel seems like he's going to be there for a while. They like to run the offense through the running back so he can be able to hand it off and do play actions, which seems to fit his skill set pretty well. All of us who are, if you're listening to this show, if you watch SEC football, all of us are looking at Will Levis and Anthony Richardson like, okay, I guess. But the rest of the country probably hasn't seen them the way we have. And so when you see Will Levis, he's a big, strapping, good-looking kid. He has a cannon for an arm. He can throw the ball a mile. There is a lot of reasons why some teams would fall in love with him. The issue is, like I always say with the draft, though, is what are you doing now if you're Malik Willis?
You go out and you compete, right? I guess. I mean, I don't know. Is the fact that it was a second round? I mean,
the fact that it was a second round
pick. Aaron Rodgers was with the Packers and they took Jordan Love in the first round, which completely it was kind of sitting there like, well, okay, you're not helping me at all, but I am still Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. Good point. There's a big difference.
If you're Malik Willis, you're like,
who am I?
I mean, are you on the phone with your agent instantly? Like, hey, this is cool, but we'll see where we go from here.
There's a lot of conversations that are happening. And I don't know how true everything was that sort of filtered out. You never know what's true. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson we could all learn from any draft media is that who knows what's the facts. But they were saying how basically they were moving on from Malik Willis. Like maybe it'll be a competition, but let's say that they would prefer, they brought somebody in because obviously Malik Willis was not performing the way they think. And I would also assume that they don't see him performing that well in the future because you don't waste a second round pick on something that you already feel is secure. And so you can tell me that it's an open competition. You can tell me you love my progress, but show me your budget. With only having a few draft picks and you decide to use one of them on a quarterback, that tells me that you don't have a lot of faith in what's happening with me. So shout out to Malik. I don't know if you want to just, check that lease on the apartment that you're going right now. Maybe don't re-sign it. Maybe don't renew it. But it's going to be interesting for you the next year or so.
14 quarterbacks drafted in this past class. We'll get into that a little bit more. Get into some big South Carolina football news this morning. As it appears, South Carolina and Shane Beamer will have a new defensive line coach named here later today, or at least this week. It's pending a board meeting. I'll tell you who that is, and we'll get back into that. I kind of want to hear what makes a good defensive line coach. Is it just yelling and screaming? I asked Preston that when we come back. Yeah, a little bit. 803-404-6100 is the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gotta take.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When a work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Now, with the weather crazier than ever, as you're experiencing kind of a chilly morning, you don't know what to do with your heating and air unit. And that means going from the heating to the air conditioning and back to the heating and back to the air conditioning. The heating and air unit is getting a complete workout. It can be strained a little bit, and it might even lead to going out on you. And with summer and Columbia's famously hot summer just around the corner, it's time to contact AAA Heating and Air. Take advantage of an incredible sale going on right now. You can save $5,300. That's right, $5,300 right now on a brand new heating and air unit. How, you ask? How in the world can we save that much money? Well, it's pretty simple. Right now, with the Inflation Reduction Act, you could get up to $3,800 in tax credits by purchasing a brand new heating and air unit. And at AAA Heating and Air, they start by offering you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. That right there is $3,800 plus $1,500. It's a $5,300 savings. How about on top of all that, qualified buyers can get 0% financing. You are off to a great start. There's no better time than right now to contact AAA Heating and Air. Make the phone call, 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. On top of all these great deals, how you can save money, AAA Heating and Air is offering you a 15-year parts and labor warranty. I'm telling you what, nobody in the business is taking care of their customers better than AAA Heating and Air. Contact them today, 803-677-1500. Contact AAA Heating and Air. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
I'm MJ Acosta-Ruiz with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. It was a memorable NFL draft in Kansas City with 259 players hearing their names called, with over 312,000 fans attending the three-day event. The Rams didn't have a first-round pick, but they drafted 14 players, the most by any NFL team. The Dolphins, by comparison, had the fewest selections with just 4. Not a huge surprise that 2 SEC powerhouses, Georgia and Alabama, topped the list with 10 players drafted from each school. Michigan was third with 9, also becoming just the third school since 1980 to have a punter and kicker drafted in the same class. Meanwhile, there were some notable undrafted free agents getting calls after the draft. Former Kansas State wide receiver Cade Warner, the son of our NFL Network Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, signed with the Bucs, while HBCU standout and former Florida A&M edge rusher Isaiah Land signed with the Cowboys. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you, with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Staples has everything to help small businesses do big things. Shipping supplies and services so you can fill big orders. The latest tech so you can create the next big thing. And now during Staples Small Business Deal Days, when rewards members spend $100 or more, they get $30 back in rewards to use on big things, little things, or anything they need. Plus, find new deals in-store every week on tech, office chairs, and shipping supplies. Because for small businesses, Staples knows savings are a big thing. Rewards offer ends 5/13. Limit 1. Redeemable in-store only.
At Spectrum Business, we believe small businesses, like yours, are the backbone of our economy and the heart of every community. That's why we provide the best value for internet, mobile, business phone, and TV to keep small businesses connected with their customers. To celebrate National Small Business Week, we're offering savings of up to $350 to meet all the connectivity needs of your business. Learn more at spectrum.com/business. Spectrum Business. No nonsense, just business. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas.
Hey everybody, a good morning to you on this Monday. We're going to be giving you a first alert traffic update. As we have seen early on this morning, not much of an update to give you. Everything relatively clear, calm around the region. Other than a singular stalled out vehicle, which has not been causing any problems, there have been no confirmed collisions, nothing with backups on our main roadways and interstates. But keep listening along this morning. We'll make sure to keep you posted. This has been a WIS First Alert Traffic Update. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
(803-404-6100). Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. David wants to weigh in this morning. David, how you doing? What's on your mind this morning?
I'm doing well, and happy early birthday wishes.
Thank you.
The draft didn't exactly go the way I thought it would, because the thing that surprised me with what he's put on film, especially the last few games, I thought Nate Atkins would be drafted. I didn't think he'd go to the free agent route. Preston laughed at me, but I was the one that called in and said I had this nightmare of the Panthers choosing Will Levis first. So I'm better about that. But the question that I have this morning is, do you have to scheme and call different plays when you have a shorter quarterback at the helm? Appreciate what y'all do. Bill, hope you enjoy your time off, and thank y'all for what you do.
Appreciate it, David. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for participating. And I'm assuming that's in reference to Bryce Young. First and foremost, I love Bryce Young. He was my favorite player to watch last year in college football. The downside is obviously he's short, and not only is he's short and he's slight. So some of your shorter guys, i.e. Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, even Kyler Murray, those guys are like thicker dudes that have thicker hips. This guy he's skinny. There's no other way to put it. To answer your question directly, the answer to that is he's been short his whole life, and he's been playing behind basically NFL lines at Alabama his whole life. So he's always been able to throw around, and find passing lanes amongst the big trees. So I don't think that'll be a big issue for him because it's something that he's always done. There may be some times in the quick game where he can't throw some of those slants across the middle just because of the trajectory of the height. But I don't think it's going to be as big a thing as people assume it to be, because we've seen shorter quarterbacks have a lot of success. To carry that on, when you see Russell Wilson, the only drawback in Russell Wilson is when, sometimes he'll have to take like a 7-step drop just to sort of get that space between him and the lineman. So there might be some longer dropbacks that they might have to call to get Bryce Young mobile or even move him out the pocket. But he's somebody that I think you want to build your franchise around, not only from a physical standpoint, but I don't know if you would find a more impressive young person to sort of build your team around. So I think that was probably the right pick in my opinion.
I don't know if this is right because I've never stood next to him. And I think it was Jay or Terry talking about this the other day, talking about Bryce Young's weight. And again, I don't know if it's on the internet. It's got to be true.
Of course.
But it's on ESPN.com. If I asked you how much Kirk Cousins weighs, what would be your guess?
210.
Yeah, Bryce Young's checked in at 204. And Kirk Cousins now 6'3", as opposed to 5'10". I get it, 6'3", 5 inches. Kirk Cousins is listed at 205. How much of a difference is that when we talk about in football and being hit? Is 5'10", and we'll just give him a pound. We'll pretend like he overindulged on Friday or Thursday and Friday night.
Yeah.
How big of a difference is it for a quarterback being 5'10", 205 and 6'3", 205?
Yeah, there's a huge difference in this particular case, and it's sort of to bring back boxing. Mm-hmm. Some people have to make weight, but some guys have to go up to get the weight, and some dudes have to cut down. Kirk Cousins has a body frame where he could easily get up to 220 and still play his game. Bryce Young, if you remember from the draft, he basically had to water himself down, eat all the food, gain about 10, 12 pounds of fluff just to even get to that 204 points. So his natural playing weight, especially once you get into the season and you're running around and you get in condition, you play closer to like 195.
Yeah.
And so it's more about like what their natural walking around weight is.
So basically when you have someone land on you who's about 150 or 160 pounds.
Yeah, man. And when you just look at Bryce Young, he's slight. I don't know how else to describe the way his body is designed.
It's an interesting concept. We'll talk about those defensive linemen because it appears South Carolina set to hire a former player, Travian Robertson, set to come back to the University of South Carolina, according to the Big Spur and GamecockCentral.com. We'll get Preston's take on that as South Carolina. We'll talk about this. I've liked Jimmy Lindsey, but I have wondered the last 2 years if that defensive line has played up to par. Travian Robinson will come into a gig where he's got some young up-and-comers that he can work with, guys like Xavier McLeod. We'll talk about that when we come back. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We appreciate you listening to 107.5 The Game. And because you are a loyal listener, you might have noticed the last few weeks that the game hasn't sounded as strong coming through your speakers. Or you all of a sudden can't pick up the station in certain places around the Midlands. Well, a few weeks ago, our main transmitter was damaged during a storm. It'll still be a few more weeks until we get the parts to have it fixed. So, if you're having issues listening to 107.5 The Game, we encourage you to go to iTunes or the Google Play Store and download our app. In a couple of clicks, you'll be hearing the game loud and clear. Thanks again for your patience and for listening to 107.5 The Game.
This report is sponsored by Macy's. This week at Macy's, find great deals just in time for Mother's Day, like fragrance gift sets from her favorite brands and new bags from Coach and Michael Kors. Plus, get contact-free curbside pickup or pickup in store today at Macy's.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. In the morning, Taco Bell keeps it toned down and simple, like the breakfast crunch wrap with fluffy eggs, sausage, melty cheese, and a crispy hash brown and a grilled tortilla. Nothing too wild, just delicious. Taco Bell breakfast, served until 11 a.m.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Give Mom a timeout with special gift card savings at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. Get a free facial gift card when you purchase a spa package. Search for the location nearest you to explore their exclusive online gift card sales.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com. Canty can fix it. South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, Navage is the best thing I bought. I love it. My nose feels so clear now and I can breathe. I've been struggling with a stuffy nose for weeks. I bought Navage and it's amazing. Or this one. I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats, and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better, unquote. Those are 2 of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Get your mom an insanely clean home from the cleaning pros at Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Book online at ZeroRiskColumbia.com.
Sponsored by Family Dollar.
Express your love for mom with great deals from Family Dollar. Surprise her with something special like gift cards, casual dresses, and scented candles, all beautifully packaged with gift bags and handmade cards at a great price. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, buddy, a good morning to you on this Monday. We're going to be giving you a First Alert traffic update. As we have seen early on this morning, not much of an update to give you. Everything relatively clear, calm around the region, other than a singular stalled out vehicle, which has not been causing any problems. There have been no confirmed collisions, nothing with backups on our main roadways and interstates, but keep listening along this morning. We'll make sure to keep you posted. This has been a WIS First Alert Traffic Update. I'm meteorologist Tony Chiavaroli.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
$6:50 on a Monday morning, first day of May. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, producer Ed Bird, Jamie Bradford due up in about 10 minutes. We'll get back into some baseball. Hour 3 in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll get into Preston's Thorns, Buds, and Roses. I made a stop by Buc-ee's this weekend on the way down to Myrtle Beach. That was, barely got into the parking lot. Was like, all right, you guys ready to go? Like, I'm not sure I'm ready for this, like, shenanigans. It was a madhouse in there. And then on top of all that, you had a robot deliver food to your table.
Yeah. Interesting to say the least. I did not like it.
We'll get into all that coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. But some football news to get to. According to multiple reports, South Carolina is set to hire Travian Robertson, former Gamecock, played defensive line for South Carolina, has been the defensive line coach at Georgia State for a few years before heading over to Tulane this past season. In his 3 seasons at Georgia State, the Panthers collected 94 sacks. There was an average of 2.4 per game, including 38 sacks in the fall of 2021. So 2021, very good. Georgia State ranked 15th nationally in tackles for loss in 2021 at 7.1. This past season with Tulane, Travian Robertson was a big part of that team's defense improving as the year went along and getting to the Cotton Bowl. And, you know, Preston, I sat there when I worked for the BigSpur.com, especially during spring practice and the early parts of fall camp when Steve Spurrier would have it open to the media, and I would listen to Brad Lawing. And I'm obviously nowhere near the physical stature of what a defensive lineman should be, but I felt like I could play defensive line because of how he explained the position. And one of his students is Travian Robertson. and the way that Brad Lawing talked about leverage and how you leverage a offensive lineman's arm to bend and be able to get into him and get past him. And how do you take that with coaching?
Brad Lawing is one of the top 5 defensive line coaches maybe ever. And I think we were very fortunate to have him here. And you hit it on the head. There is a lot of teaching that is involved with Brad Lawing when he teaches. I think probably Travion maybe doesn't use as many of the colorful words as Brad.
There was new names. Joe Pesci blushed a few times probably, but
I think that was probably maybe that's something that I don't from what I know of Travion, I don't think he brings that aspect of the game to it. But the idea
still my favorite story is the Melvin Ingram story, where it was during spring and Melvin wasn't giving, because Melvin wasn't known early on in his career as what you would say
guy.
A high motor, yes,
Yeah.
high, especially in practice. And Brad Lawing had Melvin wasn't giving it his all, and Brad Lawing had one of the GAs go get a chair so Melvin Ingram could sit down during the drills, and he starts making all the other guys do like sprints and everything, and he kept looking and going, Melvin, how are they doing? They look tired. And he said, you know what, Melvin, I apologize. I haven't done enough to help you. And he sent a GA to go get a cup of Gatorade. And as all the other linemen are having to do up, downs, and sprints, everything, he goes, Melvin, how's your Gatorade and water? Are you ready to practice now? And he got Melvin back up, and you could just
that's Big Brad.
I just sat there. I was like, geez, it's not good.
Yeah. I don't know if those types of coaching techniques are taught very much anymore, but we do know that Travion learned under the helm of a master. And if he's able to bring, he's not going to be that, because obviously he has to grow into that. But if that's somebody who, you talk about pedigree, you talk about coaching trees, if that's somebody who he learned underneath and somebody who he's been able to sharpen his skills at lower levels, and most importantly, for me and for a lot of guys that are around the program, the idea of bringing somebody back who was part of the program as a coach is very encouraging for us as former players. That's something that you want to see, especially with players who have worked themselves into positions to be considered for these jobs. It's something that I will say a lot of people in the old guy group chat that we have, a lot of people are excited about it.
He has, as far as recruiting, he has some ties to Eastern North Carolina. That's going to be big, because I don't think people realize how many NFL players come out of that portion of North Carolina, and South Carolina can go in there. I mean, that's where Travion Robertson was from. That's where Corey Robinson was from, the big offensive lineman. Pharaoh Cooper from that kind of area. Pharaoh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at this, so it's interesting. Elijah Davis is a junior. He's not a young guy, but he's working his way into SEC football. Jamal Weiss has gained a ton of weight, and is a guy they're very high on, 6'3", 325 pounds. He's just a redshirt freshman. Xavier McLeod is a 6'5", 320-pound freshman. TJ Sanders is 6'5", 300 pounds, and really came on from talking with a lot of people this spring, but he's just a redshirt sophomore. Nick Barrett apparently is a junior as I'm looking at this. I guess he never redshirted, but 6'3", 325. Alex Hundley's in his redshirt junior year. Point being is you've got guys to work with, and that's what's going to be interesting, because as we'll talk a little bit more as we go through the program, I don't know if the defensive line has lived up to what they should have been the last few years.
No, I think it's pretty fair to say that the rush defense, by statistically, has underperformed. And so, if there's an opportunity for some change and some upgrading in whether that's coaching or roster spot, then I think South Carolina might end up being better for it.
We'll continue talking about that. Get back into the baseball weekend that was. South Carolina drops 2 of 3 to Auburn. We'll talk about the injuries piling up. Will Sanders not with the best effort on Friday night. Jamie Bradford will break it all down. We'll get back into some more football as well, and the NFL draft and the NBA playoffs and the NHL play. You get the point. There's actually a lot of sports to talk about. We're trying to appease all of you that want to talk sports this morning.
Get your sports talk now.
It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is defensive lineman Alex Hundley, and you're listening to Home of the Gamecocks 107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. Cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right. We'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
803-630-5929 for more details. If you've seen them, you need to call me. Hey, this is Paul Romanstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns. If you're seeing weeds in your yard, let Midlands Landscape help you get rid of them. When you sign up for our Midlands Green Treatment Program, our lawn experts will give your turf the fertilization it needs while conquering the weeds, ensuring that your lawn will be green and lush. So give us a try. Midlands Landscape and Lawns. Schedule an appointment today at hateweeds.com. That's hateweeds.com.
Summer just around the corner. You want to make sure that your heating and air unit is working properly. And that means it's time to contact AAA Heating and Air. 803-677-1500. They were out at my house last month making sure that I am ready for the summer by installing a brand new system, and I couldn't be more happy with it if I tried. They did a fantastic job. Their team of experienced professional technicians came in, did a fantastic job, and now I am ready for the summer. Take advantage of great deals going on through AAA Heating and Air. 0% financing, a $1,500 buyback, and a 15-year parts and labor warranty. That's right. With temperatures starting to heat up, you need to make sure that air conditioner is working properly. So contact AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Don't wait until it's too hot out there. AAA Heating and Air is ready to put new comfort in your home as soon as tomorrow with a phone call today. 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, winner of the annual Mark of Excellence Award for best-in-class customer experience, and home to the Silverado, the #1 selling retail full-size pickup in America. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game
With Bill Gunter.
South Carolina will be getting ready. The baseball team will be getting ready for a series that weekend against what? Oh, no. The problem is I'm looking at April. That's why there's no March 20. That's why there's no March. That's why there's no Friday the 24th.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne and Jen Jensen.
That would explain exactly. I was like, what is wrong with this calendar? Like, why is there no? There was a Friday the 21st and a Friday the 28th, and I was like, this is not adding up at all.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Does Brad Long do 6 to 9? Like, is he up at this time? Like, we may have to see if we can get him in here at some point.
We just got to make sure we have the delay, the dump button.
Yeah.
Make sure we'll have producer Ed has to be on his P's and Q's for Brad Long, man. But seriously, I've had a couple of chances to just really sit there, and it's like one of those deals where you're sitting at your grandfather's lap, you know, and you're just listening to this guy tell these stories, and you're just like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, man. And he's telling you all these things, but we were so fortunate to have that dude here as a D-line coach. And like I said, if Travion is any type of disciple of that, you know, he has been well taught. Obviously, he's going to develop his own style because, like I said, from what I know of Travion, he's not Travion. I'm sorry, he's not like a fire starter type of guy, but he's more of a teacher, and sometimes that's what you need in the D-line. So I'm looking forward to it.
They are right now. This is just coming from JC Sherbert, thebigspur.com, who has reported that Robinson is in town, and there will basically be a waiting maybe later today or tomorrow. I guess at this point, you want to get him on the road recruiting as soon as possible and meeting some of these defensive linemen that South Carolina are after. But it'll be pending board approval and contract approval, which will most certainly happen. I think it's just a matter of when. So we'll keep an eye out for if anything pops up pertaining to a board meeting later today or anything as it pertains to contracts. 803-404-6100 was a tough weekend on the baseball field. Joining us now to discuss it a little bit, just what he took away from it. Also, I'm sure I can maybe get a Buc-ee's hot take out of him. Jamie Bradford, have you ever been to a Buc-ee's yet? Has the Bradford family stopped by one of these wildly entertaining places up and down the Eastern Seaboard?
Well, I've been once.
That's all you need to go, by the way.
I know. I wish I had more time, but yeah, I've been one time, and it is everything they say it is. It's Disney World. It's the gas station Disney World.
It was something. I'm telling you.
If there's such a thing.
It was exit 170 on 95. And we did like the brisket sandwich, and it was pretty doggone good. Like, I was concerned because I was trying to drive and it was being fed to me, and I was worried about like it going all over my shirt. But it's an interesting experience.
All I've heard is just it's the land of beef jerkies. There's just so much beef jerky. Like, for aisles and aisles, you can find whatever flavor you fancy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get into the beef jerky. I made a beeline for the bathroom. I came back out. I told the kids if they wanted a soda. By the time I turned around, Lauren had disappeared into the mass of crowd and just came wandering back. She had bought a plush Buc-ee, whatever, and a sandwich. and the only other thing that happened is I was trying to get out of the store. One of the guys yelled samples, and it was some kind of like white chocolate covered bugle or something. You know what I'm talking about? And a lady spun around at the cash register, yelled free sample, and nearly ran over me like she was going to the quarterback at full speed. I mean, just thankfully I was able to sidestep to my left and get out of the way. But when that person yelled sample, if I had not been a little bit quicker on my feet, I would still be laying on the floor at the Buc-ee's in Florence trying to figure out where I was at. South Carolina, Jamie, just you follow baseball a lot closer than Preston and I do. You're more in tune with it. What is your overall take from the weekend? Because as you would expect, you've done radio before. Sure enough, we arrive here. The text message line has 3 or 4 texts. A couple people in the live stream are already saying, "Oh, the season's over," or the team's falling apart. Or what did you take away from this weekend?
I mean, they didn't have a good weekend. I mean, they salvaged the weekend yesterday, and let's give credit where credit's due. I've been saying all year, just from using my own 2 eyes and then information from that staff, that Caleb Denny's a guy who can really swing it, and he had just gotten in a rut after they moved him to that leadoff spot and could never find his way back out of it. Guy goes 7 for 9 this weekend, and Will Tippett hits a 3-run homer yesterday, and Proctor comes in at the end of the game, and he does a good job. These are 3 guys that going into the weekend, I don't think he thought, man, we've got to have this, and this from them in order just to win one game. But that's baseball, and that kind of translates itself to what happened on Friday and Saturday. I mean, I was a little concerned. I mean, I think the narrative was, hey, they're going to get 5 days off to get healthy. They need it. This is perfect timing, yada, yada, yada. While that may be true, it's not like their arms were burnt out. I mean, they have injuries on the offensive side of the baseball. So like those things take time to heal. And when you're really playing well, sometimes the last thing you want is 5 days off. And so, we kind of, throughout the week, I had mentioned this to JC on our show multiple times. I said, I like them to win the series, but I just don't. It's kind of a scary weekend. Auburn's better than people think they are. They're playing well at the right time of the year. which coincides with exactly what happened last year. And then they rode that momentum all the way into Omaha. And you've got a little extra time off. I don't know. We'll just have to kind of see how it goes this weekend. And it didn't go their way at all on Friday and Saturday. Carolina didn't throw it well. Will Sanders, the up and down kind of continues for him, unfortunately. Jack Mahoney didn't really have it. Yeah, it just wasn't there from a pitching standpoint. And yesterday, Becker had to really fight and claw his way through a really tough start, giving up 4 in the first. And hats off to him for doing that because they were able to come back and win the game. So at the end of the day, they're where are they right now? I mean, for anybody that's jumping off a cliff, I've got news for you. They're a top 8 national seed today. Matter of fact, they're a top 3 national seed today. So, here's what you need to do. Win your midweeks down the stretch. Don't get swept on the road. And when you come back home, you would really love to take 2 from Tennessee if you can, but just don't get swept there as well. And they're gonna be absolutely fine, guys. They've done plenty to work themselves into a top 8 national seed.
The Will Sanders season is just interesting. 6 innings pitched Friday night, 8 hits, 8 earned runs, struck out 4, 2 walks. Is it pressing? Is he pressing? Is mechanically something a little off with him? What have you seen here this year? Is there maybe something arm wise? I know he sat out last fall and some of the summer. What do you see, Jamie? Because I don't think Will Sanders has been awful this year, and I want to be clear about that. But this is a guy that was a projected first round pick that a lot of people thought would be that dominant Friday night starter. Is there something you've seen that just hasn't clicked for him this year, or is it just a matter of maybe he's feeling the pressure of all those expectations on him?
Well, I mean, first of all, here are his numbers in the SEC. He's got a 6.82 earned run average in 6 starts. In 30 and a third innings pitch, he's walked 16, and he's given up 23 runs, and he's only got 33 strikeouts in those 30 innings pitched. Now that's over 1 per inning, which is great. But the 16 walks, that number needs to be cut in half, guys, if not more. And I think he's hit 5 guys as well, which if my math is right, I think that leads the team. So you're talking about 21 free bases. Well, 7 of those guys score, and there's your 6.82 ERA, right? So, he just has not been consistent. Now, from a mechanical standpoint, that's really hard to say. Like people that say, well, here's what he's doing. Well, look, unless you're there every day like Justin Parker is, you don't know. So you have to take those type of comments with a grain of salt. I haven't, just by, using the common eye, when you watch him pitch, I haven't necessarily noticed something that says, oh, this is different from last week or last month or the start of the season or anything like that. I think a lot of it's probably mental, and then, last week he had his slider and his breaking ball going. The week before he had his changeup going, and I can't remember a game where he's really had all 3 pitches really going, or even 2 of 3 where he really, really, really felt good about it. So I feel like he works on something and then something else kind of backs itself down a little bit, and they just haven't been able to get it all figured out. With that said, he's got the tools to be a first-round draft pick, and as it stands today, I still think there's somebody who's going to take a flyer on him just because of his build and his projectability. But as far as this season goes, it's going to let's call it what it is. It's going to be really, really difficult to get where you want to go when you got Noah Hall, who I don't think is going to pitch again this year. And then you got your ace with an ERA just shy of 7 in league play. I'm not talking about getting into the postseason and getting seeded well. I'm talking about getting through it and getting into Omaha and doing some damage there. So they're going to have to get it figured out. I don't know what the answer is, but we certainly know that they're working hard on it.
So I don't know whether this is just me being, an optimist or looking at having garnet colored glasses on. But what I do hear is that there's still room for growth, and this team has still not yet reached its potential. They're not necessarily firing on all cylinders. Is that the case, or have we seen this team max out? What's your sort of viewpoint on that, Jamie?
No, they're not maxed out at all. Coach Kingston said something this weekend that, I hope people understand, and I'll get this in quick so I can hit a break, but hope people understand. It's not coach speak. It's not. Like, you're going to have bumps in the SEC. Every single team has bumps in the SEC, whether it's at home, whether it's on the road, whatever it is. You can slice and dice that any way you want to, but at the end of the day, your narrative is going to be false. Every team will have a bump in the SEC season. Always. It's always going to happen. And you know, the hope is certainly that they just went through theirs this weekend. Let's remember something as well. Wimmer goes down with the hammy, so you got 2 weeks on him more than likely, and he's your shortstop, and he's a rangy guy. So we'll see when they come back if that hamstring's good enough to plug him in back out there, or do they need to maybe put him over at second and kind of limit his range a little bit. You know, we'll see on that. So he's not healthy. LeCroy's not healthy. McGillis still isn't back in there. You know, Costa's just knocking the rust off of things this weekend after being out for, you know, a little over a week. You got Noah Hall who's out. So you still got a lot of things going on here. When do you want that to click? I mean, Preston, you played college football. You know, I know it's not like a college baseball season where you can lose a few games, get hot at the end of the season, and ride that into a national championship because the structure is different. But, you know, in sports like football, I mean, in sports like baseball, sports like basketball, right, you want to be playing your best ball at the end of the year. And you certainly want to have done enough to put you in a position to be able to play that best ball at the end of the year, make it mean something, which they have done. But you want to be playing your best at the end of the year. And so if it can coincide with most of these guys or all these guys getting healthy at the right time, you know, South Carolina is as dangerous as anybody out there. LSU, Wake Forest, anybody. But, you know, they're dealing with injuries, they're dealing with adversity. And yesterday, a couple of guys, unsung heroes, stepped up and avoided a sweep. And I don't think people realize how big of a deal that is. They're focusing on the 2 losses. That's fine. I get it because those count too. But coming back from down 4-0 yesterday and winning that game, that was a huge, huge deal without a lot of guys that you usually count on.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of those injuries. You kind of just alluded to several, and Braylon Wimmer now the most recent. We'll also get into a little football with you, the Travian Robertson news, and how that impacts South Carolina moving forward, the NFL draft from the past weekend, maybe more Bucky's conversation. Preston also had food yesterday delivered by a robot. He's not particularly thrilled about. You see
I didn't like it at all.
There's a lot to get to with you, Jamie. A lot to discuss this morning. Glad you're doing good. Glad everybody out there is doing good as we get you going. First day of May. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jamie Bradford, producer Ed Bird. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Have you missed any of the early game?
You can catch up by going to the early game on demand page at 1075thegame.com.
Or by downloading our 1075 The Game app on iTunes or Google Play.
Keeping a clean home this time of year, never that easy. Kids are running in and out of the house. They're tracking grass in. Or you've got someone like me who goes and plays golf and then tracks it in on their golf cleats. And you need a company that has, let's say ZR Water technology. Good news. That's exactly what Zerorez has. ZR Water technology, scientifically proven to keep your carpet, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery all insanely clean. And right now, you can take advantage of their fresh spring offer. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game. Maybe this is even a present you want to get for Mother's Day. Make sure she doesn't have to clean the house. You can call Zerorez 803-262-4020, or you can schedule with ease online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Again, with their patented ZR Water technology, scientifically proven to keep your carpet, your rugs, your towel all insanely clean and keep it cleaner longer. Zerorez will take care of you and the family. 803-262-4020, or again, schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game. Zerorez, spell it backwards and forwards. It's the right way to clean.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by WeatherGuard Truck Boxes. If it's a job worth doing, it's a job worth WeatherGuard. Congratulations to Toledo defensive end Deshaun Johnson, the 259th and final pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Well, that makes him this year's Mr. Irrelevant. Johnson says he brings energy, get-off, and disruption. Boomer Esiason.
WeatherGuard, the name that stands for unmatched security in truck boxes, is now making a name for itself on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series circuit. WeatherGuard is the official sponsor of the safety and security work crews at Speedway Motorsports tracks across the country. Engineered to meet the demands from job sites to race sites, WeatherGuard truck boxes feature double welded seams, weather-tight seals, and high security latches and locks. If it's a job worth doing, it's a job worth WeatherGuard. Learn more at weatherguard.com/truck.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome at the end of your first year. They automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right. Everything you've earned, doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
At Firehouse Subs, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. They make their subs differently because their subs can make a difference every day. That's why they're bringing back their daily medium sub special for just $7.99. Enjoy a different handcrafted medium sub at a special price for every day of the week. Like today's Monday special, the Firehouse Meatball Sub for just $7.99. Get it Wes's way and add pepperoni. Get it for a limited time only at Firehouse Subs. Order now with your Rapid Rescue at firehousesubs.com.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast. Actor Russell Crowe.
I went to a Snoop Dogg concert in Melbourne with my 16-year-old son, and he knows I'm there. We've been friends for quite a while. And he goes, I just want to do a shout out. He knows who he is. Are you not entertained? My 16-year-old's eyes just popped, and I was like, Snoop, I owe you for that, man. Thank you very much. That's as cool dad points as you can possibly get. That's a 3-pointer, right?
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, buddy, a good morning to you on this Monday. We're going to be giving you a First Alert Traffic update. As we have seen early on this morning, not much of an update to give you. Everything relatively clear, calm around the region, other than a singular stalled out vehicle, which has not been causing any problems. There have been no confirmed collisions, nothing with backups on our main roadways and interstates, but keep listening along this morning. We'll make sure to keep you posted. This has been a WIS First Alert Traffic Update. I'm meteorologist Tony Chiavaroli.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
803-404-6100. How you can weigh in this morning. Firehouse Subtext line or the Love Chevy phone lines is how you can be a part of the program. Jamie Bradford joining us as he does each and every Monday. And Jamie, Preston's got questions for you. I'll let him take over.
I got. Obviously, we have a serious one and I have a silly one. Let's go with silly first. Jamie, did I miss my call-in to be an Auburn first baseman? Because I was looking at the roster and I saw Cooper McMurray and they have him listed at 6'3", 220. And I'm here to tell you that's not what 220 looks like in a baseball uniform.
Dude, I'm with you. I saw that cat. I was like, 220 in my no way.
And then so obviously I saw him and I was like, oh, okay, that caught my attention. Then I went to do some research and I didn't realize they had the dude from last year who was known as the Thick King, and he was 6'1", 263. So I'm just wondering if maybe I should be following Auburn baseball because they seem to have guys of my type. Is that a thing down there?
Well, it looks like it. Yeah, when they trotted out like there's I don't know, their second or third, or their third and fourth bullpen guys yesterday too, and like one of the misnomers in baseball is like, oh, you don't have to be an athlete, which is not true.
Right.
You do have to be an athlete to play baseball. You do. Like, that's a lie.
Right.
With that said, there are always exceptions to the rule. Bartolo Colon was one of those exceptions in the big leagues. And like when these two relievers came in back to back for Auburn yesterday, I was just sitting. JC Sherbert was in town because we had some stuff going on this weekend, and we were sitting on my back porch watching the game, and I was like, JC, no offense to you, but very similar to you. These guys just have bad bodies. And he was like, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But they did. They look terrible in baseball uniforms.
Yeah, like I said, when I was looking at Cooper McMurray, they said 220. I was like, "There's no way. There is no way." So I did notice that. Now, on a serious note, I understand how you mitigate injuries in a football season because you can sort of throttle down the contact during the week. You can ease guys into practice. I don't know how that works for baseball because you have to continuously play. You have to continuously play games. What is the strategy for trying to take care of injuries for a baseball team?
Well, I mean, it's unfortunately, you can't control some of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely. I mean, the back-to-back hammies they've got, I think, are just more of coincidence than anything. But I mean, look at McGillis. He got hit by a pitch. Arms, taking care of your arms and stuff like that. I mean, that's certainly something that you have a plan for, and that starts a long time ago, like years. And you just don't, you don't deviate from that plan as much as you can, But it's there. I mean, again, guys, we all understand sports. Different body types, or you use different parts of your body in different ways in different sports. And, obviously in baseball, you got a guy that throws 100 pitches a game, and then you got 8 other guys out there that don't. Of course, catchers always get forgotten about. I used to try to tell my guys that. I was like, hey, look, I was a catcher. I might not have to throw it 90 miles an hour back to my pitcher every game, but you do have to throw the ball back to them every time. So you are throwing it as many times as they are. So you got to take care of your arm too, just because that's not a natural movement. The softball throw is a natural movement, a natural arm movement. So what's the answer? I mean, we'd probably be here all day, but I do know this. South Carolina's strength staff is the best in the nation. Billy Anderson's as good as anybody in the country.
Billy's great.
He's the best of the best of the best. So if they feel like anything is off or wacky, they'll fix it.
No, semi, and I'm stealing this from a texter on the Firehouse Subs text line, but I do agree with this texter, and I have to ask a semi non-serious question to both of you. It's 2023. How in the world, Jamie and Preston, do we not have a better system for the foul pole?
I don't know.
Like, can you explain that at all? Because I don't
know. It's a joke. I mean, I mean, do you? It's not. we could put cameras in the pylons in football, right?
Yeah, that's what.
So I can't put one on the foul lines. I don't understand. Like, yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I wasn't there, so I can't say definitively that either of the balls that left the yard this weekend were or were not home runs. I heard they were, but I don't know the answer to that. I mean, there's 2 umpires standing on every foul line, and if both of them miss it, either they're both idiots or it's foul. So I don't know what else to say about it, but I don't know how they can't figure that out.
The anonymous section says, why aren't there cameras on the foul poles? The ball Casas hit yesterday may have been foul, but nothing anybody can say can change my mind about the home run Messina hit Saturday. That was a fair ball. It's funny because yesterday on the one that Casas hit, as I started watching like reactions in the crowd to see like where the fans were like I think there was a woman that was in fair, kind of out in the outfield or in the stands. There was in fair territory, and it looked like she was following it, and it clearly would have been fouled. And then there was another guy who may have been chasing the hot dog vendor or something else who was kind of running to the right over by the foul. It is crazy that all the technology we have in sports nowadays, and this is the great mystery of trying to figure out just whether some of these balls hit are fair or foul.
No, and that opens up kind of a can of worms from yesterday too, because the fact that crew was they just continued to just step on themselves. The fact that they threw King out for what he came to argue for is a joke. That's his second ejection, so technically he has to miss the midweek game at Winthrop tomorrow, and I know that he's going to appeal it, and he should win that appeal. And if he doesn't, Coach Tanner and Coach Tanner's got a lot of pull in that league office. All right, he's as respected as anybody in the league. Somebody, he needs to be riding up someone's rear end in a hurry, because first of all, the TV guys, they were brutal. They should never let the father of a kid on a team be on color on television. Okay, Greg Olson's a great guy. His son pitches for Auburn. He shouldn't be able to call the game. That's a joke. So the SEC network screwed that up. ESPN Plus continue to screw all this up. They don't put guys in the ballparks. The TV coverage is ridiculous. That's why Derek and Tommy are the best of the best. And you should always hope that these games are on the SEC Network Plus, so you can get Coach Lake and Kip and Dave and those guys up there, because the SEC Network sucks. They suck now with their baseball coverage. The umpiring sucks worse. Excuse my French, but like, if you aren't willing to listen to the head coach when he walks out there to tell you, hey, look, there's 4 of you here. The clock is 0. What's the point of the pitch clock if you're not going to consistently call it? The pitch shouldn't be allowed. He didn't throw the ball before the clock hit 0. So that's it. That's ball 4. Bases loaded. So they throw him out of the game because he gets too close to the umpire. Well, what world are we living in here where these umpires won't allow you to walk out and talk? That's part of baseball. You can walk out and get in an umpire's face and ask a question. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you come out and you want to get personal with him, that's right. Run him. Get him out of there. If Kingston came out and said, hey, look, you're the smallest midget and the dumbest planet on the universe, you're out of here. You're getting personal with me. I get it. He came out to tell him, there's 4 of you out here. The clock's 0 and the pitch wasn't thrown. And nobody here wants to acknowledge that. You're just going to call a check swing on my guy. I mean, he went. That was strike 3. He didn't hold up his swing. That was strike 3. But the pitch shouldn't have been thrown. And so that's a great time to go fight for your team there. And it's not like we're fighting about fair and foul. It's not like we're fighting about a check swing or a judgment call. It's a clock. I mean, hey, Preston, in football, you got a clock, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And if the ball isn't snapped and the clock shows 0, then guess what? That's delay a game, period. Like, if you're like, well, we'll fudge it a half a second for them because we know they were trying to get it off, it doesn't matter. The clock's 0. That's it. So we've got that in baseball now. And some umpires, they can't wait to call it. And other ones, they give you a second or two after the damn clock hits 0. So we either need to be consistent about it or get rid of the pitch clock. And so, the fact that they threw him out of the game because they were too sensitive to even listen to him, and then that home plate umpire continues to zigzag back and forth and walk away from him, just cowardly, man. Turn around, let him say what he needs to say. It might be something that's going to help you actually, call the game as an umpire, be a man about it. And if he gets personal, throw him out. If not, get with the rest of your crew and try to figure out what happened here. And if it's 0, it's 0. If it's not, it's not. But that was the sorry to get down that rabbit hole, but I'm so tired of watching umpires continue to screw everything up and then nobody holds them accountable. It's gotten to be a joke.
It's okay. I feel like you've got something off your chest. A little Monday morning
Yeah, I
therapy.
did.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention that the strike zone. TrackMan's got these guys so screwed up they're scared to call a fringe strike. Anything's on the black or just off of it. That's baseball. And they want to bring umpires into the mix. I'm like, oh my God, how fast can we ruin the game here? So, I mean, it's just crazy what's happened here. But, somebody's got to stand up for these coaches and say enough's enough. We've given the umpires all the power, but yet nobody holds them accountable for anything. I mean, it's just ludicrous what's going on right now on that side of the game. Okay, after that, I'm done. More coffee.
And there was a good event last week up here in Columbia, down in Charleston as well on Saturday. We'll get into that a little bit with Jamie Bradford. We'll settle him down. Preston, we probably will not we didn't have a weekend review last Friday, so we're building some content, but be a man about it. I've got it written down, 7:30.
We got to have that one on the hot key.
7:30 on a Monday morning. That will make the weekend review when we get back to that little segment next week. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshields, no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free. And they work directly with your insurance to take away the headache. So if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows and mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. You hear us say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Today is the day. Today is the day you empty your garage and closets of your old tech. Today is the day you hang up on that dial-up modem. Today is the day you tell that old GPS to get lost. Because while Staples recycles old tech for free each and every day, today, during Staples' free Tech Take-Back, Rewards members get $10 in Staples Rewards when they recycle their tech. Cut the cord on your old tech and recycle it at Staples. N617. Limit 1 reward per month. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/recycling for details.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet. Quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Have a passion for serving children and families? Apply to become a child welfare case manager at dss.sc.gov. This message is sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Social Services.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Hey everyone, on this Monday morning, it's time for another First Alert Traffic Update. Listen up for this one, please. I-20 eastbound exit ramp to SC 277 northbound has been blocked due to an accident this morning. One more time, that is I-20 eastbound, an exit ramp to SC 277 northbound being blocked right now due to an accident this morning. If this is, of course, something that might throw off your travels, something to be mindful of. Thanks again for listening for your WIS First Alert Traffic Update. I'm meteorologist Tony Schiavaroli. Please make it a safe travel day.
What we're talking about on 1075 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Eight zero 404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning. Firehouse Subs text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. You had a chance this weekend, Jamie, to attend the Carolina Rise event that was held down in Charleston. I actually attended the one on Thursday up here at Home Team Barbecue. Your name may or may not have come up when I was discussing the radio program with Mark Kingston, Monty Lee, and Justin Parker, and discussing your antics. We'll just call your name dropping. We discussed you. We had a good time. But how was it down there in Charleston?
Well, I hope that was good. I hope that was good discussion. Not
Yeah,
bad
it was.
discussion.
We cut up.
I'll hold them accountable if they had anything bad to say about me. Yeah, no, it was great. I guess you could call it attended. I was more working it, the large majority of the time, just trying to keep things straight with sponsors and the football team and just all kinds of stuff. But yeah, first, so we had about 125 tickets sold plus everybody. So about 175 people or so, maybe more than that ended up being there. And it was great. The first thing I'll say is I did send a text message to the head coach of the football team on Saturday. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, because I really couldn't wait to tell him. I had never met any of these football players, any of these guys. There was 15 of them total, and Juju had some car trouble, and he literally did have car trouble. And generally, oh, I have car trouble, I can't be there. Well, he still came 2 hours late, and so did O'Donnell Fortune, and some of these other guys had some other things going on, and they still went out of their way to drive separately. You know, I texted Coach Beamer and I said, you know, hey, look, you've got great young men, like they really were, Bill, and Preston. You know, it's not always that way. We all know that, and every one of those guys, I think what was most impressive, I never heard the word no one time. Every kid got something signed if they wanted it. They were happy to be there. They were not just signing autographs. They were talking to kids. There was a football team, the East Cooper Warhawks. They were there talking to these kids about, you know, what positions they play, where do they want to play in college, where are they from, you know, who's your favorite team, who's your favorite player. I mean, really engaging with these kids. And I remember what it's like to be that age. These are your heroes. And, you know, they were just as good as they could be. So if those 15 guys are representative of the rest of that locker room, you know, they got a pretty good chance to be pretty good. And on top of that, I'll tell you this, they're confident dudes. You know, they think they're pretty good, and very humbly. And hopefully that carries over. So it was a great event. Thanks to everybody who made it out to both of them. I know Charleston's was, you know, much more attended because it's a Saturday, but hats off to Gamecock football and all those guys. They are first class, every one of them.
Preston, you just did that. What do you remember? Was there like a event you went to that was similar to what you see with NIL? Like, I mean, there wasn't anything like that back in 23 years ago.
No, we didn't have those types of events. And it would have been really, really cool because everything back then was so, you know, clandestine. You know, if you were meeting anybody, it was like, did you actually meet them? Can we talk to anybody? Is the NCAA going to pop up from around the bushes and say that you can't talk to this person because they're related to this other person? So the idea of this being able to be more out in the open, everybody gets to be exposed. And as Jamie was pointing at, I think a lot of fans would benefit from just being able to meet some of these players, and you realize that a majority of them, first off, you realize how young they are. You know, you realize, oh, these are just college students. That's one. And then you just realize most of the time these are just great kids all around. And I think that would really do us all as a fan base a benefit to meet some of these players as people, as opposed to just seeing them on the fields.
Well, I think you hit on two things there. It was funny because I was talking to Marcellus Dial and Juju and somebody, O'Donnell Fortune, kind of late on Saturday afternoon. We were just sitting there kind of shooting the breeze about some stuff. And I was telling them, I said, guys, I don't think y'all get it. Back in the day, like if you were at something like this and somebody bought you a meal and that got out, you could get flagged for a game. You could get, I mean, there's all kinds of things that were going on. I was like, dude, I mean, I'm telling you, when I was in school, like you had to be very, very, very careful. Like if someone was like, hey, I'll pick up, oh, that's Stephen Garcia, or that's Preston Thorne, I'm going to pick up his meal. No, that's an NCAA violation. You're going to get banged for that. And they were like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. I was like, y'all don't understand the world you're living in. I mean, it's just a different day and age. But also to your point, you know, Preston, this is something that, you know, the fan side of me, I've always tried to be careful about because I have been very blessed to be able to, you know, spend my time in college athletics and around it for so long as a student athlete, whatever it was, and working in the media. You're right. These are kids. And people get emotional because they want to win and they care and things like that. And you hear it. You know, you hear it in Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday nights. You hear it in Athens or wherever else you are. You know, fans getting mad at players for not making plays and this, that, and the other. And you know, they're doing what they can. I mean, they're not out there trying to screw up. You know, it just happens sometimes. And then you meet these kids and it makes you realize really quickly they're kids but they're really good kids. And so it humanizes a lot of it. And you realize quickly they want to win more than you do. Trust me. You know, like it means a lot more to them than it means to you. Like they are not trying to lose or screw anything up, but it's a very difficult thing to do what they're doing every day. So anyways, hats off to those guys. And certainly, you know, obviously JC and everybody doing everything. We've got some ideas for the future that we're going to really start to kind of shift into gear here soon. But overall, a success this weekend in Gamecock football. Very, very, very well represented. And Vershawn Lee is a freak, by the way, because he ate 25 chicken wings in about 3.5 minutes, and that's ridiculous.
Craig on our live, Craig. I guess Vershawn Lee won the Columbia contest.
He's two-time champ.
So he
won it here too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How many did you say he put?
But almost 25 in like 4 minutes. He basically quit at the 4-minute mark because he looked around at his teammates. He was like, "This thing's over. I don't have to eat anymore." But here's the thing, though. Ja'Kai Moore, he got screwed.
Oh,
and I've got his back on this. Because if you've ever been to home team and eaten their chicken wings, when they come out, they're hot.
True.
Well, everybody else had their chicken wings, and they were just sitting there for about 5 or 6 minutes, and Ja'Kai didn't have his yet. They come out, and the guy who's, all right, it's time to go. I was like, hey, man, wait, just because the wings are here doesn't mean this is a fair. Nope, didn't listen. They blew the whistle, and Ja'Kai Moore couldn't even pick his up. He had some little old lady at the end of the table down there blowing on him to try to cool him off for him, just so he could eat them. So I was like, well, no, wait, he just got screwed. And the whole thing, I think he quit like 6 into it. He's like, this is ridiculous. He's like, I can't even feel my mouth anymore. So
controversy.
Vershawn Lee is still an animal.
Controversy at the Carolina Rise chicken wing eating contest. Vershawn Lee's second victory very much in doubt. We'll continue discussing. We'll get some serious football discussion there on a former defensive lineman, Travian Robertson, who appears to be coming back to South Carolina. Jamie Bradford away in on that. He's sticking around till 8:15 this morning. We got Preston's Thorns, Buds, and Roses. A lot to do. We roll along. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? Oh, I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery.
South Carolina Lottery players have a chance to attend a private Luke Combs concert in Nashville by entering their non-winning $5 Living Lucky with Luke Combs tickets into the Second Chance promotion. Enter your tickets now and see scEducationLottery.com for game odds and details.
Life matters. In 1942, a young Marine tried desperately to find a place of safety in order to hide from a Japanese patrol. Finding a cave, he went inside and hid. In quiet desperation, he prayed, "Dear God, I have no other place to run. Please build a concrete wall over the mouth of this cave." As the first rays of morning light began to show through the cave opening, he realized that something had been built through the night. It was a spider web. Disappointed, he wondered if God was mocking his prayer. "I asked for concrete and I get this flimsy web." As the enemy inspected the web, they concluded no one could have gone through that opening without disturbing it. The young Marine must therefore be in some other place. Sometimes the answers to our prayers seem disappointing, but it's usually God's wisdom supplying a better solution than we could imagine. Remember, he can be trusted. This is Stephen Chitty, pastor of Christian Life. Remember, life matters, and so do you. Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Not even the most well-kept homes are immune to termites. So call Dodson Pest Control. With over 75 years of experience, they will make sure your home is looking good inside and outside your walls. Visit DodsonBROS.com to find an office near you. Dodson, the pest professionals you trust.
Hey, y'all. Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
And we're happy to have been voted Lexington's best glass store for 13 years in a row.
Many drivers are unaware that your cracked windshields can be replaced, usually at absolutely no cost to you.
If all the high-end car dealerships in town can trust us to do their glass needs, so can you.
We service the Midlands both at our shop in Lexington, but we are also happy to come to you at home or work.
Find us online at absoluteglassinc.com.
And remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is always adding exciting cocktails to the menu, like the expertly balanced Sincoro Hall of Fame Margarita. Try it at your local lodge today.
Hey, everyone, on this Monday morning, it's time for
107.5 The Game Traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, everyone, on this Monday morning, it's time for another First Alert Traffic update. Listen up for this one, please. I-20 eastbound exit ramp to SC-277 northbound has been blocked due to an accident this morning. One more time, that is I-20 eastbound and exit ramp to SC-277 northbound being blocked right now due to an accident this morning. If this is, of course, something that might throw off your travels, something to be mindful of. Thanks again for listening for your WIS First Alert Traffic Update. I'm meteorologist Tony Schiaparoli. Please make it a safe travel day.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Jamie Bradford hanging around for another segment after this. Then we'll have some Preston's Thorns, Buds, and Roses. Get into a discussion on robots delivering food to the table as well, I feel like.
Definite Thorn.
Okay, that'll make it for an easy transition there around 8:15 this morning. So you want to hang around for that. 803-404-6100. Jamie, football, while you were talking about meeting and greeting and hanging out with the players this weekend at the Carolina Rise event down in Charleston. It was a really good one this past Thursday over at Home Team Barbecue that J.C. Sherbert and Carolina Rise put on. But the news of the weekend, Jimmy Lindsey apparently out the door to LSU. Travian Robertson coming home. Welcome home, I guess. And maybe today we'll get an official announcement.
Couple of days, and just outstanding. This is outstanding news for South Carolina, and certainly have done my poking around with a lot of guys that I know that y'all know quite well, but a lot of guys who played with Travian and certainly know him well to this day and understand what he's all about. And the reports are just really beyond glowing. And I know a guy who's wanted to be here for a long, long time. So hats off to Jimmy Lindsey for the job he did at South Carolina. Best of luck in Baton Rouge, but it certainly seems like this is working out for everybody with the timing being right. As Coach Spurrier once said, coaching's all about timing, and the timing seems to be right for Travian Robertson to come home. JC reported it, I think, officially around 11 o'clock last night, the first to really get it out there. And looks like we should hear something officially probably today.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this throughout the morning. I'm kind of keeping an eye, I imagine, as we roll here into the 8 o'clock hour. We may see an email come out just as it pertains to, say, a board of trustees meeting or something to approve a new contract. I'm sure it seems like this moved very, very quickly. I'm with you. Yeah. You look at it, and Preston, I want to ask you this in the next hour. Maybe you can get into it. We only have about a minute here. But the difference in coaching the interior line versus the edge guys where Sterling Lucas has them.
Yeah, it's a tremendous difference. And that's one of the changes that's been made in football in the past couple years. We started doing that, but the ability to focus your whole intentions on the interior guys.
Really the two positions in the interior, right?
It's totally different. So having somebody who has played that position also, has played it at a high level, understands the intricacies and the nuances of playing inside as opposed to playing outside, I think that's going to be a benefit for everybody.
Yeah, totally agree. I think one thing to add to this too is I think what we've learned is Coach Beamer doesn't hire anybody that can't recruit. So he wants guys who can coach and can recruit. And for those that I haven't kept up with Travian Robertson's recruiting, rightfully so. I've just got, not unfortunately, but I just obviously have a lot of things going on. But this is probably a telltale sign. He can probably go out there and get it done on the recruiting trail as well. And he learned from Brad Lawing, so he knows how to develop guys up front.
We'll continue to discuss it. I do want to get into a little bit more about the differences because a lot of people go, well, just give that whole defensive line to one coach. Brad Lawing coached. I assume Lawing coached all 4 positions, 4 positions, I guess, however you want to break it down. I want to hear your assessment of why it's become a little more nuanced and why you have an edge coach like a Sterling Lucas, the buck position, which I feel like Will Muschamp just shoved down our throat for, I don't know, however many years. But we'll talk more about that. Jamie Bradford will stick around. We'll get some NFL draft thoughts from him, Preston's Thorns, Buds, and Roses. Lot to do as we roll along here on a Monday morning, the first day of May. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. He's Jamie Bradford, producer Ed Bird in as well. A lot to do here. The first day of May. Hopefully warmer outside.
I think.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
I'm hoping.
We'll
anyway.
see. We'll see. Hour 3 on the way. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
What's up, y'all? This Gamecocks wide receiver Juice Wells. You're listening to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
All-American Heating and Air's proud owners, Gene and Debbie Royer.
Oh, there's many companies that don't do background checks. It's sad to say.
A background check is performed on every employee that works for All-American.
We want to make sure that we're sending a safe person into your home and you can feel safe.
Trust All-American's family to help your family.
Check my prices, check their prices, check my word to their word.
We're a good first opinion or second opinion.
You need us with All-American Heating and Air.
All-AmericanHeatingandAir.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Get mom what she's begged for all these years, a clean home. And mom deserves nothing but the best, which is Zero Rest Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Only Zero Rest cleans with ZR water, proven to clean better than detergent without any residue left behind. Give your mom the gift of clean. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $129. Book online at ZeroRestColumbia.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español. Gracias, Babbel. Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today.
That's Babbel.com. Babbel.
At Spectrum Business, we believe small businesses, like yours, are the backbone of our economy and the heart of every community. That's why we provide the best value for internet, mobile, business phone, and TV to keep small businesses connected with their customers. To celebrate National Small Business Week, we're offering savings of up to $350 to meet all the connectivity needs of your business. Learn more at spectrum.com/business. Spectrum Business. No nonsense, just business. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, celebrating the incomparable Silverado. For the first time in history, the #1 selling retail full-size pickup in America. Find yours at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game.
With Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen.
I appreciate the fact that Preston won the race because he had Logano, so he had the win. And we didn't open the show with, I'm a champion. I am so good. I'm a pro.
You got to work on that.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Listen, it's a long season, Bill. It's a quiet confidence.
Did he take the lead?
He did.
Proud of you, man. I feel like I've brought you into the show.
And no offense, but it also just goes to show you don't have to know NASCAR to pick a winner.
Jen's so angry. Like, you're going to see, she loves you right now, but that's going to change.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
.803 on a Monday morning, first day of May. It's a busy week. May the 3rd is my birthday. May the 4th be with you is Star Wars Day. Did you know that?
I've heard a lot of dorks say that before, so yes, I have heard that before.
Jamie Bradford, May the 4th be with you. Is this a day celebrated in the Bradford house?
No, it's not even a thing. No. You get to the end of the day and people, like, I had somebody say that to me last year, drop my kids off at school, May the 4th be with you. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? He looked at me and it was like, Star Wars? I was like, you haven't watched that in 30 years. Whatever. I was like, have a good day, pal.
It's the weirdest thing. I feel like I'm missing out on something with The Mandalorian, but I then remember that I never got it. Like, you see all these people that's fired up about the little baby Yoda or whatever it is, the whatever Grogu. I've never watched any of that stuff. I don't know if I've watched from start to end the very first Star Wars. I know after that I've never watched anything else. Like another one of my great movie, like, just of the movies I've avoided. But I think I watched the first Star Wars, or I know the theme and I know what's going on. But after that, like, you start getting into all the other characters, no clue whatsoever. So you got, all right, Gunner birthday on the 3rd, May the 4th be with you, and more importantly, the national holiday, the Cinco de Mayo,
correct,
on Friday. So again, go ahead, if you're an owner of a business, plan on. I got a feeling a lot of people calling out sick or not returning from work after about lunchtime, and then Saturday.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, here's a hot one for you.
Uh-oh.
Outside of 1 year in college, when we used to go to Eric San Jose down on the corner of Rosewood, or on the corner of what was on the corner of down there? They closed.
Yes. That building needs to be marked as a national monument to debauchery, because I've had some times in
which ones?
The San Jose.
Yeah, the corner on Forest Drive, on the corner of Forest Drive, and was that it wasn't Rosewood. It was Belt, or not, whatever. Doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about. That San Jose.
I don't think I've been to that one. That's why I don't know that one. I lived in West Columbia in college, and so you'd come across the Blossom Street Bridge, I believe, was the Blossom Street Bridge over there, going kind of where the old D's Wings was, and there was the old. Now it's apartments. College kids today don't know that. Said that was the one that, like, that was. You'd go in there and you had the restaurant on your right, and to the left was kind of the bar area where there was no such. Basically, the legal drinking age for that left side was about 14. Like, you just went in there and it just they didn't. Was that like if you just showed up and you looked older, if you just said it with confidence, you were getting whatever you wanted. There were many a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday afternoon that just getting back from USC to my house in West Columbia, is where the afternoon, which is why I was in college for 6 years, basically.
Look what they've done to our culture, Bill. They put up some apartments over there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
knocked down the monument.
That was, you could start.
I think,
go ahead.
Didn't all the Erics close too? I think Eric's in prison now, isn't he?
I don't know what that is actually. I didn't make it
Eric
down
San Jose.
I didn't make it to to Rosewood. I'd hit Pizza Man occasionally. There were a couple pre-basketball game tailgates with a member of the basketball team who never got eligible, was a transfer and who never actually played on the court, that I would spend over at Pizza Man prior to the game, and he never even dressed out to my knowledge. But that was I never made it to Rosewood. I was always back on this side of town because there was a few wild experiences where we would start at that San Jose, you'd wander over to D's Wings, and then you'd end up at that bowling alley. And there was a time gap of about 9 hours that disappeared.
I've made that trek a few times myself.
You'd wander out of that bowling alley that was right there by the D's Wings and the San Jose, and you're like, oh, how's it 1:30? And now why do I have an 8 a.m. class? What was I thinking?
Nothing like the smelling like cigarettes and fajitas at the same time.
Yeah,
and just like, oh, I had a great time.
803. Yeah, college days. College. Oh, boy. 803-404-6100 is how you can get. And, of course, now everybody's just all fired up and weighing in on the text line. It says, Tim says that was a Monterey's Mexican restaurant when I was in school.
Yes.
Was it
It was Monterey's.
Are we thinking, okay, Monterey's. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Old Monterey's. That's what everybody said. I don't remember. I can promise you that.
Yeah. I know. We can tell.
Yeah. Well, trust me. They retired. Between what I contributed to the company and then what they made off of selling the land, I guess, to apartments, they are living somewhere in a very nice lifestyle. I can guarantee that.
That's not Eric from Eric San Jose. I think he's living in like a 10 by 10. Seriously, I don't know if y'all heard what actually happened to that guy, but didn't end up well. Let's put it that way. We'll move on.
All right. Monterey's. Thank you all again. Monterey's. We're still talking 20 years ago. So as we kind of close up shop here and relive our college glory days, South Carolina goes on the road. 4-game road trip this week at Winthrop. Wednesday night, trip to Kentucky coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What do you look for, Jamie? Because this team, you don't want to let one bad weekend doesn't kill you, but you don't want to let one bad weekend spiral into 2 or 3.
No, just it's not really a whole lot you're really looking for other than just getting them back into the flow and going out and playing the way they've played all year. I mean, if you want to point to anything, I mean, certainly it's getting the pitching staff kind of back where they're where they need to be. I mean, I give a lot of credit to Auburn this weekend because they're just playing well right now. They are, and they've got LSU coming up this weekend, so they had a dynamic opportunity to get themselves, right in the thick of it to get into the postseason. I think they were the first team out going into the weekend, so new projections, they're probably going to be in it. So hats off to them, and really just get your pitching staff settled back down and doing what they know how to do, and continuing to get guys healthy, and you really want to. I think they've kind of hit a little bit of adversity, which we figured they would at some point in time, and let's see how they bounce back and respond to it. And Winthrop's going to be a challenge tomorrow. It's on the road, and then you got to go to Kentucky. It's a place they traditionally don't play well. But Kentucky's struggling a little bit right now, and they know the Gamecocks are coming, and that's going to be an opportunity for them to kind of kick it back into gear. So it's going to be a dogfight, man. I can't wait to watch it.
Jamie, we always appreciate it. A little fun there catching up at the end on some college memories. A couple people agreeing with you on your story of a former owner of San Jose. But you had that down cold. 803-404-6100. People just reliving college glory days. Jamie, we look forward to catching up with you next weekend, and we'll see how the Gamecocks do.
And congratulations to everybody that went in the draft and all those signing free agent deals. Well earned and deserved. And I think this class is going to surprise some people in the future. I think Carolina's got a bunch of dudes in there. They're going to play a long time.
Certainly. Yeah, we'll catch up. We'll talk more about that. We'll get into a little bit of summertime discussion as well. Good luck this week, and we'll catch up with you next.
All right, boys. See y'all.
All right, my man.
Thank you.
Take care. Jamie Bradford, as he does each and every Monday, joining us to discuss all things South Carolina. When we come back, it's time for Preston's Thorns, Buds, and Roses. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute. There were some can you believe your eyes moments this weekend. On Friday night, Oakland's Ryan Noda homered to deep right, just above some fan-created signs blasting A's owner John Fisher. However, on MLB's highlight, the signs were cropped out of the frame. Yesterday, ABC aired Statue of Liberty footage that included the World Trade Center. Boomer Esiason.
Is your check engine light on? Let our professional parts people scan and diagnose the problem for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes? Good news. There's a new way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. Call U.S. Tax Shield, A+ rated with the BBB, 800-391-5063 for your free consultation and let U.S. Tax Shield protect you from the IRS.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. In the morning, Taco Bell keeps it toned down and simple, like the Breakfast Crunch Wrap, with fluffy eggs, sausage, melty cheese, and a crispy hash brown in a grilled tortilla. Nothing too wild, just delicious. Taco Bell breakfast, served until 11 a.m.
Carolina Power Equipment, the Midland's Kubota Superstore, is proud to announce our association with Kai Kroger, University of South Carolina punter extraordinaire.
I am super happy to be here. Carolina Power Equipment is the place to come get yourself a Kai Boda.
Sorry, Kai, that's Kubota. You know, Kubota tractors and zero turns.
That's right. Carolina Power Equipment has the awesome Kai Boda tractors that can kick some serious dirt.
Yes, the Kubota L-Series tractors are some of the most dependable and popular tractors on the market.
Yep, and the Kai Boda zero turns can keep your lawn looking like game day every day. Guaranteed to stop and turn on a dime, just like my sweet kicks.
It's Kubota. Kubota.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Carolina Power Equipment, 2490 Charleston Highway in the heart of Casey. Or visit CarolinaPowerEquipment.com.
Kubota. It's the only orange I'll ever love.
If you have certain chronic conditions such as heart disease,
asthma,
diabetes, and you're 19 years of age or older, 52,
36,
42, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com. I'm going to ask my doctor
about getting vaccinated
with Prevnar 20. My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Breathe easier in your home with Zerorez Air Duct Cleaning. It's the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR30 when scheduling online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Hey everyone, as you're listening along, it's time for another First Alert Traffic update for your Monday. I-20 eastbound, a crash being reported at exit 72 SC 555 to Farrow Road. Again, that is I-20 eastbound. Slowdowns being caused by a crash at exit 72 SC 555 Farrow Road. Something, of course, to be mindful of as you continue about your travels. Other than that, no main accidents or collisions causing problems this morning other than your typical day-to-day traffic. Thanks again for listening for your WIS First Alert Traffic Update. I am meteorologist Tony Chiavaroli.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
We'll get more into this Travian Robertson hire as we kind of go through the week. I can tell you, according to thebigspur.com, it's done. John Whittle has just put out an article on, it just says why Travian Robertson and details why this is a good hire, aside from the fact that he is a former player. There is still, according to John Whittle, there is still a board of trustee approval that will need to be made in terms of contracts and stuff. And so no word yet, as we see here at 8:18 on a press conference of any type to introduce him, or even just putting out a press release just saying, welcome to the family or welcome home or whatever, however Shane Beamer wants to put it. But I am excited about this hire. Like I am, and we'll talk more about that. I'm excited to see Travian come back. He was one of the first recruits that I felt like was huge for Steve Spurrier. Cliff Matthews and then Travian was really big. So we'll continue to talk about that. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on the Firehouse Subs text line. It is time now for Preston's Thorns, Buds, and Roses. Here is your weekend recap from one Mr. Preston Thorn.
Well, Bill, here we go. It's time. We are ready for Thorns, Buds, and Roses. I'm going to go a little bit off schedule, Bill, because I had a whole soliloquy about failure and Giannis and all of that.
Okay.
But I need to say the real thorn in my craw this weekend was having my food served to me by a robot.
By a robot. I like this. This was a discussion off air.
I went to a local establishment, which fancies itself as being pretty bougie. And let's just say it's the complete opposite of the bowling lanes that were over there in Casey. And I had food that was served to me by a robot. I put my order in the app. It came out on a tray. The robot had eyes. It told me to move out the way so it could get by. It was a glimpse into the future, Bill, and I did not like it, especially after just having this whole conversation about monorails where you could walk in, you had to make your way through the smoke.
Yeah.
You had a regular server. You didn't know his name. He don't know your name. You just hit him with a, hey, buddy, and he gets you your drink. And we do this whole
bonded
dance
that way.
We do this whole dance for like years.
Yes.
And we never learn each other's names, and it's phenomenal. I'm going to miss this personal service. So the big thorn in my craw is not sports related. It was the idea that a robot brought me my food, which I then had to take out. The robot told me to get out the way. I did not like it.
Very upsetting.
Buds, the draft, Bill. The draft is all about pruning and planting. NFL teams are planting seeds that they hope will someday grow into all pros, starters, maybe even just roster guys. But they're also spring cleaning, Bill.
Uh-oh.
And NFL teams follow the sacred rule. One in, one out. And so for everybody who draft day is a great day, draft day is also not a great, i.e., Malik Willis. Malik Willis might be somebody who says, you know what, draft day last year was awesome. This year, not so much. That's the way the game goes, Bill. So some teams are planting seeds. Congratulations to all the Gamecocks who got drafted. Seriously, it's a major life accomplishment because majority of people who play will never have their name called. So to have your name called, be counted amongst some of the people who were qualified enough to be drafted, that is a major life accomplishment, and that's the good news. But the bad news is you're on the clock. Good luck. The draft comes in 364 days, and your spot might be one of the ones that's pruned.
I'll tell you one that I just realized because it happened in the third round and I missed it. Tank Bigsby from Auburn going to Jacksonville. Travis Etienne,
I'm just telling
keep an eye out. Like Tank Bigsby got a lot of carries at Auburn, but I would assume
if we all just used our houses like the way NFL teams do rosters, where you just bring something in, take something out. We wouldn't have any clutter in the houses. No clutter on NFL rosters. Bill, I need 50 roses, sir.
No, that's not for really your mother should be involved in the roses part right now, and she should be giving roses to my man Jimmy Butler. But what are you giving? What 50 roses are you giving out?
By the way, I have an update on that.
Okay, good. I want that.
Jimmy's status has updated.
Good.
Bill, I need 50 roses. Steph Curry.
Yes, sir.
The lovable, likable, cuddly, stone cold killer. Somehow Steph has managed to be at once the underdog and also one of the greatest to ever play in the game. How does he manage to do that?
Because he's not LeBron. He's not, and by that I mean he's not that physical size. He's not Jordan was 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
LeBron is a big. Kobe Bryant. How big was Kobe?
6'5".
Kobe was 6'5", 6'6". Steph's the anomaly. You don't have many people, and I think that's why people don't like, especially your mom, doesn't like Trae Young because he's the anomaly to the size thing. But there's something annoying about Trae Young. Whereas with Steph Curry, he was bringing his daughter or what is his son? I don't know, one of his kids in.
We love him.
He's playing golf. He's hosting television shows.
He's cute, cuddly, and all that. And then he's just a killer. He's a killer, man. Last night he did it all. 3-pointers, driving to the hoop, finger rolls, off balance. It's amazing to watch. And Bill, I know some people say, I'm not an NBA guy. But we need to witness. We're going to have a chance to see this one more time. And we're going to get Steph versus LeBron again. And if you're any type into basketball, we get to see the two best players of the 2000s square off at the ends of their career. We're fortunate to see this. So tune in. 50 roses for Steph, man. You're incredible. You're awesome, and you still continue to do it. Please take LeBron out for me. I appreciate it, sir. Those are Preston Thorns, buds, and roses. Appreciate it, sir.
And Steph's done a good job of being able to keep the Draymond Green stigma away from him as well. Because normally is it when you have like a person like that on your team, it's just like, all right, that guy's so annoying, he just bleeds over into the next, and you're like, Steph's part of that. I assume Steph Curry is still a very well-liked individual in terms of what everybody else likes. Like I don't feel like he has become, because normally don't you get like the athletes who we all like and then we just turn on?
Yeah, there hasn't been a Steph turn. And to be clear, Steph does some things on the court which could make you not like.
I agree.
He shoots the ball and he turns around, he shimmies. Yesterday he's shooting free throws with his mouthpiece open and he's smiling the whole time. Those are grounds to get on Preston Thorne's annoying list, but somehow he avoids it. I don't know what he does.
He did a little trash talking. He
always does.
He does. He said light the beam, which is what the Sacramento Kings do when they get a win. And poor Sacramento, they don't win anything. Who's making fun of them? But Curry did that, and again, 50. Like, he's fun to watch.
It's fun. I mean, it's phenomenal, man. He's dribbling through people, throwing the ball up at all kinds of awkward places. There was one play last night. It was the Ultimate Warriors play. Draymond
set a pick. Probably an illegal pick, but
Steph
it didn't get
throws
called.
it in. Draymond does a tap pass, sets a moving screen.
Yeah,
and then Steph hits a three from the corner, and it was just like, oh yeah, those are the Warriors, man.
They are. That wraps up the opening round series for them. Draymond Green stomping people in the chest, and it finishes with Steph in a 50-point game last night for the Dubs. We'll come back. We'll get into a little bit more on the robots serving Preston.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit and a few other topics as we roll along. Yeah, we need an update.
I think Jimmy Butler's status may have been updated. He might have saved himself with one sound clip.
Okay, good. We'll get into that a little bit. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game. 107.5 The Game.
gotta take.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
This is Preston Thorne with Integrated Media. Get your outdoors ready for spring and summer. Spring is here. It's actually May. Who can't believe that it's finally here, even though it doesn't necessarily feel like that? You need to have your outdoors ready with your Samsung Terrace TVs. Get them waterproof. Outdoor speakers for TV and music. Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. And you can control all your devices from just one remote. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring security systems from your cell phone. Integrated Media is the company to call. So check out Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or you can get them online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Pioneer Tree Service has more than 4 decades of helping homeowners maintain and manage trees on their property. Their skilled crew offers customized solutions that match your needs and budget. Tree trimming and tree removal can be dangerous. You need to trust the people that are doing the job. Before attempting to remove limbs, call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote. They remove limbs safely and make sure that future growth is directed away from potential trouble areas such as roof lines and driveways. Cutting down trees takes more than a chainsaw. Even branches can weigh thousands of pounds, and their removal must be handled with care. Pioneer Tree Service offers a full complement of state-of-the-art heavy equipment, from track hose to bucket trucks to safely remove trees and stumps from your property. And no matter where you live, the Gantt girls can get there. And I want you to call them at 803-794-8253.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Steven Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to finish. We're people with a passion for helping injured workers. Bring your case to us and stop the worry. We've got this.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Get ready to save with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering fast and reliable speeds for $49.99 a month. Free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security. And a free Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Go to spectrum.com/save more and use the Spectrum One savings calculator to see how much you can save today. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Today is the day. Today is the day you empty your garage and closets of your old tech. Today is the day you hang up on that dial-up modem. Today is the day you tell that old GPS to get lost. Because while Staples recycles old tech for free each and every day, today, during Staples' free Tech Take Back, Rewards members get $10 in Staples Rewards when they recycle their tech. Cut the cord on your old tech and recycle it at Staples. N617. Limit 1 reward per month. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/recycling for details.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you're thinking about retiring soon, be sure to tune in to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists, Sunday mornings at 10. Join Pat as he talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Listen Sunday mornings at 10 to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby. Securities offered through Arcadios Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Arcadios Wealth. Preservation Specialists and Arcadios are not affiliated through any ownership.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Hey everyone, as you're listening along, it's time for another First Alert traffic update for your Monday. I-20 eastbound, a crash being reported at exit 72 SC 555 to Farrow Road. Again, that is I-20 eastbound. Slowdowns being caused by a crash at exit 72 SC 555 Farrow Road. Something, of course, to be mindful of as you continue about your travels. Other than that, no main accidents or collisions causing problems this morning other than your typical day-to-day traffic. Thanks again for listening. For your WIS First Alert traffic update, I am meteorologist Tony Schiaparoli.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Eight 803-404-6100 is how you can be a part of the program if you want to do so this morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird, as we get you through. Been again talking about Travian Robertson. And again, if you're just kind of tuning in and hearing the news on him, South Carolina appears set to hire Travian Robertson as its next defensive line coach. Jimmy Lindsey leaving for LSU over the weekend, and maybe you'll be able to hear Shane Beamer talk a little bit about it next Monday, a week from today. It's the Welcome Home Tour. Preston will be out there.
I'll be there.
Go and see him. It'll be at Seawells here in the Midlands. You can go to the GamecockClub.com Welcome Home Tour. Again, this will be Monday at Seawells. $40 per ticket. Go to the GamecockClub.com /Welcome Home Tour. Doors will open at 5:30. Tony Annan will be there, kind of hobbling around, I reckon.
On the scooter.
By the way, I know Tony knows how to text, and he sent me a text yesterday because it was not particularly.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't think he responded. I asked him what the score was. I was trying to drive. Yeah, I asked him what the final, but he said more Spursy stuff today.
I didn't see the game, but I saw the ticker go by, and it wasn't good.
Yeah, I think they gave up a goal in the 94th minute to lose to Liverpool. But you can hear Tony, you can hear Shane Beamer, you can hear Lamont Paris. That'll all be next Monday, May the 8th. Go to the GamecockClub.com /Welcome Home Tour to join, to purchase tickets. Again, $40. Doors open at 5:30, and maybe we'll hear Shane Beamer talk a little bit about the hiring of Travian Robertson, bringing back a former Gamecock. I'm trying to think. I know I'm blanking, and but I'm trying to think, Preston, over the last 20 years of former players who have come back that have been position coaches. Obviously, Connor Shaw, Marcus Lattimore, Patrick DeMarco. We've all seen them in roles kind of off the field. I guess Connor Shaw was a tight ends coach, I believe, is what they made him there when Will Muschamp was fired and a spot opened up. But am I completely blanking on former players that have come back and been a position coach?
So there've been a couple, and this is something that, like I said, we're always keeping tabs on this, because this is the issue that's really important to a lot of former players, because there's been extended conversations about when there are players that are ready to be put in position. Of course, nobody's talking about just hiring somebody simply because they played. That's not what we're saying. But when there's somebody such as Travian who has worked himself to be prepared for the SEC, we all would love for those things to happen. So Rod Wilson was here for
that was the one that I just remembered. And I'm surprised Rod Wilson, because I thought he's done really well with the Chiefs.
He's back with the Chiefs.
And he was here for a year. I'm surprised he's a guy who hasn't maybe latched on a little bit more as a full-time linebacking coach, if that's what he wants to do at the college level. We got to admit, if you're in the NFL, there is a level of, I don't want to go deal with recruiting, and now I don't want to deal with NIL and all that other stuff.
I talked to Rod. He's very happy with the Chiefs. So I'll say that. So he's definitely in a happy position. He enjoyed his time here, but he's happier. Eric Kimry obviously was a position coach. But other than that, this kind of slim. And what we hope, and I guess I'm speaking on behalf of former players, was we hope that this is a trend that goes in this direction as we start to have more people who are qualified. And I have to stress that.
Yep.
We don't want to just hire people just because they played. That's not, or he was a fan favorite, or he was a great player. That's not a good enough reason to hire somebody. But when you have somebody who has been qualified, they've worked at lower levels, and they're ready to take this next jump, we would love for these opportunities to be presented. So this is a win-win hire for everybody, I'm assuming.
It is interesting. Clayton White is considered an up-and-comer in the industry. I don't know where this will lead him. I think his name was just kind of thrown about a little bit for the Charlotte job. I don't think he ever actually interviewed or anything, but it was just kind of thrown out there. Chris Hampton is another one who is making waves now. We talked about him. He was at Tulane with Robinson. Hampton was the defensive coordinator. They obviously, again, went 12-2 and went on and won the Cotton Bowl. He's now at Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
He's now at Oregon, and that's a guy, if Clayton White continues to work his way up.
And it's what you would say, if and when, because assuming and this is how it works, if Clayton White does well here, he should get opportunities other places. And so even though you hate to lose him.
Let's say this, you want to lose him to a head coaching job, not just another defensive coordinator position.
Correct. Yeah. And if he does well here, you assume it's sort of like when you get those players and you're like, oh, they're going to be here for 3 years? Awesome, because that means they were successful here and everybody gets what they wanted out of the deal. Yeah. So Chris Hampton is out there doing great jobs. And there's other players that are sprinkled around, like Nashawn Goddard coaching the O-line at South Carolina State. There's several players that are around places. And like I said, when these conversations come up, you hope that the former players have an opportunity to get these positions.
Where is
also shout out to Shaq Wilson, who took an assistant line job with the New York Jets. So shout out to Shaq.
I was looking to see real quick where I think he is with the Commanders, and he is Travell Wharton.
Yeah, Travell,
assistant offensive line coach.
I'm not sure if it's been official yet, but there should be some press release about Travell with the Commanders, and it's good news.
Good. Excellent for him. Yeah, he's been in. I remember interviewing him a couple times right after his career ended. He was doing some stuff with the Panthers, but that's another guy certainly that seems to be making a lot of waves. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on any of that. All right, little update. Your mother coming around on Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Buckets is basically just throwing the heat on his back. He's just carried him right past Giannis and the Bucks, and now he's got game one in the bag over the Knicks. And Jimmy is a guy that personally I really like. I kind of love who he is. He can be a little abrasive, but I've kind of appreciated it. I've had an appreciation for it because he's a hard worker. He's basically kind of in that Kobe Bryant mold of, I'm going to request the same work ethic of you that I'm going to put in of myself. So I've been a Jimmy Butler fan. I've read some stories about his time in Minnesota where he basically went up there, got so agitated with the first team that he took the second team and beat the first team and kind of told, hey, you young guys, this is how you're supposed to work.
Yeah, that was the genesis of when I think the turn for Jimmy Butler was for my mother. I think there was a conversation about how he basically bullied Karl Towns, and I guess she didn't like that, and she was like, oh, I don't like this guy. But after the game last week, he had the press conference, and they said, Jimmy, what you going to do? And he said, I'm going to take my daughter for ice cream and take her to the park. And that might have softened her heart.
Oh, so she's might have softened.
Might have softened. And didn't even she just said, maybe he's not so bad. So Jimmy Butler has moved down on my mother's villain list. Baker Mayfield's still number 1. Trae Young rises to 2.
Okay.
And Jimmy Butler's number 3 now.
Trae Young's he's not a villain, but he's becoming an annoyance for a lot of people because it's a really interesting thing because I don't think anybody watches a regular season NBA game and says, that player's not playing defense. I really dislike. But Trae Young takes it to a whole other level of not playing defense. And even Heath Klein, like a couple weeks ago, got very worked up over Trae Young and like when he doesn't even have the ball, his lack of work ethic without the ball.
That combined with getting coaches fired, being very difficult to work with as a teammate. It's all of those things. And then, as you said, he's Steph light. He's not, but he's definitely generic Steph Curry. He's not. He's McDowell's instead of McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? So he's not quite there yet. And I could see a lot of ways how that little light skinned boy, as my mother would refer to him, as Trey Young, the little light-skinned boy. She doesn't like him either. So the Baker boy and the little light-skinned boy, she don't like those two.
Coach Annan has sent me a text message letting me know exactly how the match went. I was in.
Like I said, I just saw the.
Do you know what happened?
I don't.
Oh, okay. Because he said this. He sent me yesterday. He said more Spursy stuff today. And they lost 4-3, and again they gave up a goal basically in the final minute. He says a minute to go. I saw it was in the 94th minute, so it was into extra. It was into extra minutes there, but they were down. The Spurs, your boys, were down 3-0 within 15 minutes, only to rally and tie it,
and then lose,
and then give up the goal in the 94th minute. So yeah, tough break for your Tottenham Hotspurs as you maybe you start wearing the jersey around town. They will understand that they've picked up a big fan in Preston Thorne and now become more dedicated to winning.
They say, Bill, they say in the stock market that you got to buy low. I bought
low.
You're
purchasing at an all-time low?
I bought low.
Okay.
Just waiting for this thing to rise up, baby. We're on the way.
Yeah. The Premier League coming to it. Poor Jay and John Whittle and just anybody that's an Arsenal fan, our club coach, Coach Doug. It's just not a good weekend. But this coming Sunday, we might have to figure something out for this. 11:30 this coming Sunday, Newcastle and Arsenal.
Ooh.
So it's basically Coach Annan, who I'll join sides with, versus the evil of Jay and John
and
Whittle.
The Arsenal's like the evil empire a little bit, right?
They can be. Yeah, I mean, they're choking again right now. But this coming weekend, yeah, you've got Coach Annan's group, Newcastle, taking on Arsenal. So you can just make fun of you can make fun of Jay and John Whittle all week and all the Arsenal fans. And if Tony Annan can win that, we might even have to have him on like the Monday after, right when we come back.
Victory lap.
Yeah, to just rub it in their faces. 803-404-6100. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
We appreciate you listening to 107.5 The Game. And because you are a loyal listener, you might have noticed the last few weeks that the game hasn't sounded as strong coming through your speakers. Or you all of a sudden can't pick up the station in certain places around the Midlands. Well, a few weeks ago, our main transmitter was damaged during a storm. It'll still be a few more weeks until we get the parts to have it fixed. So, if you're having issues listening to 107.5 The Game, we encourage you to go to iTunes or the Google Play Store and download our app. In a couple of clicks, you'll be hearing the game loud and clear. Thanks again for your patience and for listening to 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery.
South Carolina Lottery players have a chance to attend a private Luke Combs concert in Nashville by entering their non-winning $5 Living Lucky with Luke Combs tickets into the Second Chance promotion. Enter your tickets now and see scEducationLottery.com for game odds and details.
Welcome back to Carolina Power Equipment and our special guest, Kai Kroger, punter extraordinaire for the University of South Carolina.
Yep, it's Kai Boda country right here at Carolina Power Equipment.
That's Kubota, Kai.
Oh, right. That's what I said.
Tell everyone why you love these Kubota zero turns.
They're like our best running backs. They can cut through anything, and they're built like our biggest linebacker, tough as nails. Plus, they can stop and turn on a dime, just like my sweet kicks.
Don't forget about all the Kubota tractors. This place is a Kubota superstore.
I love these Kubota tractors. They keep winning awards for being the best in the business.
It's like the Ray Guy Award for Best Punter, where you were clearly robbed.
Moving on, if you're a landowner, these Kai Boda tractors simply outkick the competition.
Kai Boda? Nice try, buddy.
Tried a little fake there. I'm kind of known for that.
Carolina Power Equipment, 2490 Charleston Highway in the heart of Casey. Or visit CarolinaPowerEquipment.com.
Kubota, it's the only orange I'll ever love.
Hi, my name is John, and I'm self-employed, and we got sidetracked on our taxes at the 2008 recession. And it became a monster that we couldn't tackle ourselves. We heard about the Ecton Law Firm on the radio and contacted John. If you could classify someone as a miracle worker, I would put him at the top of the list because he took our problem and resolved it for us with our not only our unpaid taxes, but our unfiled tax returns from previous years. And I would highly recommend the Ecton Law Firm.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Can you imagine a magical world
Filled with elves and fairies,
and pixies and sprites?
whose only job is to make people happy
They want to see you smile
and laugh
and sing.
and dance a little.
These magical beings will suddenly appear.
When you call 1-800-GOT-JUNK,
We make junk disappear.
all you have to do is point
And then you'll look at babies and smile
and tell delivery people to have a wonderful day.
and wave at your neighbors whenever you see them.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJunk.com.
SC Department of Corrections is hiring food service specialists with a $7,500 sign-on bonus. Start a new career with great employee benefits today. Visit joinscdc.com for info. Sponsored by SC Department of Corrections, SCBA, and this station.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon, Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
The Guttermen have been providing top-notch service throughout the Midlands for over 47 years, building their business on relationships, not gimmicks. And you can call them locally, not a 1-800 number. Call them today at 791-7147 and look for the guys in the powder blue trucks.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Hey everyone, as you're listening along, it's time for another First Alert traffic update for your Monday. I-20 eastbound, a crash being reported at exit 72 SC 555 to Farrow Road. Again, that is I-20 eastbound. Slowdowns being caused by a crash at exit 72 SC 555 Farrow Road. Something, of course, to be mindful of as you continue about your travels. Other than that, no main accidents or collisions causing problems this morning other than your typical day-to-day traffic. Thanks again for listening. For your WIS First Alert traffic update, I am meteorologist Tony Schiavaroli.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
Eight 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning if you want to be a part. We've covered everything from the baseball series, Gamecocks dropped 2 of 3, to the likely hiring of Travian Robertson. We've covered a little Steph Curry, and I have a question now that I discovered on Friday night. Now, different subcategories, mind you.
Yes.
So not everything fits into this, but you got barbecue, you got Chinese, but then you have your overall, what I feel like we grew up buffet: Western Steer, Quincy's, Ryan's, Golden Corral.
Old Country.
I did not realize my kids had. Now I will say they've been to Sheely's once. So the later on, once we described do kids go to? Do we go to buffet? We don't have buffets like we did 20 years, 30 years ago when we were growing up, right? Like the buffets. And I know, yes, COVID and all that, so it took away some. But I think back even 15 years ago, we don't have buffets like when we were growing up, right?
Bill, I have a deeper theory on this. It's because we're not as communal as we once were. Everybody wants to get their own little plate. There's something,
and this is pre-COVID, by the way.
Yeah, this is something pre-COVID, but there's something very communal about me waiting on you to finish your portion of the mac and cheese so I can dip the same spoon and get it on my plate. It's just more of a it's more of a thing when we were more together, and everybody wants their own little thing.
Like, doesn't it? Most people, I would assume, our age, I'd say anywhere from 35 to like 50. That was a staple of growing. I was in Lexington. Lexington. We had a Western Steer and we had a Quincy's. We were like blessed. The whole town was just blessed. As I was describing to somebody, we were a Quincy's family. The yeast rolls, like there was a Quincy's right there on Main Street and whatever 378 or whatever going out, and it was right down there. Now it's I think a seafood place, but like that was it. And you went there, and that was kind of like the great meal during the week. The hey, come on, we're going out. We're going to Quincy's. If you want chicken tenders, you get chicken. If you want steak, make sure you get the vegetables. We don't have those anymore, do we?
They're fading, a relic of the past, Bill. Just as the robot is delivering my food now, the buffet has gone the way of the dodo bird, and I for one am sad because there was an appeal to it. It's like, oh man, I can go get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, I guess there's still Golden Corral and that exists.
Ed says there's one Quincy's in the country left, and it's in Florence.
One in Florence?
One in Florence.
Might have to make a visit there.
Because we took them to, which, I mean, I've grown up doing this. I think all of us, if you've been to, especially Myrtle Beach or North Myrtle, wherever, you've hit the seafood buffet. You know, like $40 for all you get, like they had crab legs and all kinds of shrimp. My kids acted like they had no clue what to do.
Yeah.
Very confused.
That's very disappointing.
Only did they come to their senses when they saw the dessert buffet, and after they had brought their dessert back, and they were like, "Oh, that was pretty good." I said, "Well, go get another." We can go back. I was like, "Leave your plate. You have to go get another plate."
Oh man!
But you can go, and all of a sudden, the buffet became like their great thing. But because my son, I think, went up and got some chicken tenders, of course, because at a seafood buffet, why would you not fully gorge yourself on the chicken tenders? But and it got me thinking. I was like, I don't think families do the buffet. Like, I'm thinking Lexington now we have a Ryan's, but I'm not even sure that's completely open anymore.
Ryan's. I know the Ryan's in Somerville closed down to make a bigger Chick-fil-A parking lot, which is a travesty.
Ryan's is completely. See,
it's happening, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, Western Steer and Quincy's in Lexington is where it was like. I put something on there. I put something on social media about that this weekend, and everybody was like reliving tales of like their family taking them to
a beautiful time. Shout out to Pappy's, which is no longer there in Goose Creek down in in the Low Country, which had all you could eat seafood, and you would just pile it up with clam strips, which by the way I think they were just fried pieces of something. I don't know what it was, but tremendous. Yeah, the buffet's not here. You still have maybe you could still visit a Chinese buffet.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because
but the old school. I mean, Bill. Think about pizza buffets. You know, you had Pizza Inn, and
I like Mark. Several of y'all this is a Quincy staple. Y'all are talking about the yeast rolls. They're fire. It is. Mark says I would just eat a plate of the rolls and ham from the south. Yeah, that was the other thing. Like that was John from Somerville says Preston knows Chinatown in Somerville.
Right, but very well.
But see, and I don't think my kids have ever been to a Chinese buffet because they're used to hibachi. So we went that's of course that's totally different. But and barbecue buffet is that's still a thing, I think, for most of us.
It's kind of, but I feel like that's kind of going away too.
It's fading away because you got Sheely's again. Halfway through the weekend, my kids were like, we were describing buffets and we mentioned Sheely's and like, oh yeah, we've been out there.
But just in again, as a young man who's always been portly, buffets were a highlight of my week. I remember shout out to one of my best friends, James. His family was a Ryan's family, so whenever I would like spend the night over there, we would go to Ryan's. Yeah. This was all part of the whole thing.
Tim and Charlotte says there is a Quincy's in Monroe, North Carolina. We're narrowing it down now. We're just out there looking. Yeah, I want Shoney's was another one. Is Shoney's is it all shut down?
Shoney's there's still, I think there's still a Shoney's over there in West Columbia, but I don't know if they have like the breakfast buffet like they used to have. Granby's, Bill, you saved the hottest topic to the end.
I saw we might have to come back to this later on next week because I meant as we were talking off air, I was talking about our food that we ate this weekend in Myrtle Beach, and all of a sudden it popped in my mind. I was like, I got to bring this back up. I totally meant to hit this a lot earlier with the buffet because, again, there's a text line just exploded, by the way, like 15 text messages in 5 minutes. But I was thinking, I was like, people, what I would say more our age, 35 to 60-ish, kind of in that like that area. The buffet was.
But Bill, I'm not joking. There is a communal aspect to that because I can't be a jerk while we all have to eat this food. It's a communal thing. We're all eating this macaroni and cheese.
And we'll all come back tomorrow for more of the early game. Jen will be back. We'll see you then.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
What's up, y'all? This Gamecocks wide receiver Juice Wells. You're listening to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
Getting rid of pests is not a do-it-yourself project. So call the 70...
Breakfast buffet. Happy's was all you can eat. Seafood buffet.
Preston's still just naming buffets. We're out of here. y'all take care. We'll be back tomorrow.